Hello, good evening. Hopefully you can all hear me loud and clear. Hopefully that is crystal clear for everybody. We are back live for Pro-Am evening. It is week number 3. It is round number 5 and 6 of the championship. The first week of the drop scores. Mathew Duffin in the commentary box with Gray Langley, as always, on this beautiful Wednesday evening here in the United Kingdom, and a beautiful mid-afternoon in the United States. We're bringing you all the action live from Misano, week 3, our first of 2 night races this season. We go to Misano, and then I believe it is, let me get the calendar up for you all so I can remind myself obviously of what the second night race is. It is out of Spa-Francorchamps, which is the second night race of the season. We've already done Alton Park and Nürburgring. We're at back-to-back Italian races here for Misano and for Imola. In what should be, Gray, a pretty fascinating evening, because Misano's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a bike circuit, as we know, and this could be one that we have to keep our eyes on tonight for what could be a really thrilling race.
Yeah, for sure. From what I've heard about this circuit, it's either you like it or you just plain out don't like it. It doesn't seem like there's really in between. I know I heard you say that you just can't find a rhythm around here, whereas for me, I love this circuit. It feels like I hook up really quick, and I was disappointed not to race it last year, but yeah, it does provide some really good racing in terms of the braking zones that open up, and then you have some you have multiple heavy braking zones with fast corners, which leaves that slight opportunity to make mistakes in between corner to corner sections. You have some corners that are very on edge, such as the penultimate corner. That's a left-hander that you can take flat out if you're on it. But if you get it wrong, then you have to lift. Now you're on the marbles, and it's like that for a bunch of corners on this track. And on top of that, it's a night race, so drivers might miss their braking points a little more. The track's a bit cooler than it usually would be during the day. The air temperature is the same as the track temperature, which is the main difference from the day to night race. But yeah, I'm very excited for tonight. I'm excited for tomorrow too. It's been some great racing this season. Week 3 already, almost a whole month is gone. Well, already half a month has gone by, and it's just flying through this season. Unfortunately, we have a shortened calendar, but that's to no fault of SimPlay. That's from server issues last season, unfortunately. But yeah, the calendar this season looks great. This is just another great track on the calendar, and yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go tonight.
Yeah, ready to go as well. It looks like it's going to be a cracking evening of racing around here at this Misano circuit. Home to the former Pro-Am champion of Richie Michelle. Obviously, we don't have Mirko or Richie Michelle with us anymore at the moment, so hopefully them guys make a return sooner rather than later. Just let me know if I've gone a little quiet. I'm just trying to find the correct microphone position at the moment, but either way, we're looking to see what we can do here. Like Langley said, it's a night race, 1 of 2, and I've just brought the timing tower on the screen for you now so you can see the time. It's currently 10 p.m. on the Friday evening. The race then goes to 2 a.m. Now, there's no rain forecast for tonight, but we do find that this is now going to play massively a big difference. That 4-hour...
Yeah, I'm just listening to the stream back real quick. We'll get it fixed for the races and practice. You are a little quiet compared to the game sounds drowning you out just a little bit. But yeah, first night race, I mean, we're starting to get a more defined reverse grid for race 1 now, where some of the people up front either had bad races, that'll even out over the season. But we had a first-time winner last week in Pro-Am as well, and we're looking for more tonight. I mean, there's even more names up here that I see. I mean, Betterson in the bronze class, absolutely clinical this season, almost just right around that top 5 all season. He has been amazing. Jimenez, I have not seen this year up front. I'm not sure if that's a new driver or not. Let me know if I'm wrong, but yes, that's a new name at the front right now. Gary Leach, a longtime driver for SimPlay, or in SimPlay, back at the front now. Lino, I believe, was the winner last week. Varga is your championship leader. Gerbino, I believe, won a sprint race last year, so he's up front showing good pace right now as well.
Yeah, indeed he is. I'm going to try and change the microphones over back to the one I was using last week that sounded a little louder from where I had it. But yeah, it looks at the moment like Jimenez, you are correct. He is a new driver. He signed up as a reserve for this season, so we'll see what he can do. He's part of the bearded racing team that was actually in the endurance for the Nordschleife 24-hour and then for the Watkins 6-hour event we've just done. So we'll see what he can do. But great, it's very interesting out there, isn't it? You just
Yeah, in terms of a GT, if it's an F1 car going around here, almost every corner is flat out, and that's no joke because of how high downforce they are. But with these GT3 cars going around here, you have so many fast corners. The car seems to be always on that razor thin edge of what you can get right. For example, the first complex of corners, you have to sacrifice a little into turn 1, set up turn 2, and if you get it right, you can take turn 3 flat out. But if you don't get it right, you have to lift off and you lose time. And then going into turn 4, it's a little bit of the same thing. Turn 4 is like a hairpinish, but then you have 5 into 6 left-hander, and going through 5, you have to sacrifice a little bit to take 6 flat out. So it's a lot of give and take with these corners, but because of that, that provides very good wheel-to-wheel action. Even going through 6, 7 is a banked hairpin almost, and then 7, 8, it opens up in the braking zone, which could provide some very good opportunities for some dive bombs. 9 is flat, but 10, 11, 10, you have to stay in the middle of the track, so you get your braking right to hit the apex for 11. Very fast corners, very on-edge car. If your car is not stable, is not set up for corners like these, it can be a very long night of racing, trying to keep the car pointed in the right direction. But the drivers who get the confidence around here, that get the rhythm down, are going to be the ones at the front tonight. You sound very quiet. For me in Discord, you sound like you're in the background. I can't really hear you, and I don't think you're coming through on stream. I could be wrong, but I do not hear you on stream. For me, it sounds like you're across the room. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, for some reason it's not picking
Yeah.
up the microphone I was using last week. So is that better for you, Langley?
Much better.
Yeah,
much,
so I've
much
gone back
better.
I've just had to pick up the old microphone a second. The other one just isn't playing ball. Yeah, you know, Misano tonight is going to be such a fascinating race to see what is going to happen with these drivers out there. It could be a case of, you know, win or lose in this one. Pit stops could play the part, I think, especially in the sprint race at the moment, in terms of when you choose to pit. Sorry, in the feature race, when you choose to pit could be absolutely crucial around here, especially if you take that extra 5 seconds for tyres, because the cooler temperatures should play into the hands of the drivers, but we know what the curbs are like around here.
Yeah, for sure. You have some sausage curbs that I know in general the Ferrari doesn't like sausage curbs, but the Ferrari is probably the worst car on curbs. That's why I mention it. But you kind of need to take them around here. So if your car needs to be set up, but you're right, especially in that penultimate corner where you have the 2 yellow sausage curbs on the inside. The fastest way around there is to take it flat out. But if your tires are worn, especially like 40 or in your first stint in the 1 hour race, if you hit it wrong or at the wrong angle, it can send your car into a spin, and then you're like, well, what's happened? And yeah, uh, I like the circuit. I like the way it flows. I like the racing it produces.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw last night in M2s, especially at the start. The driver on the outside has a very good opportunity to brake very late on the front row to go around the outside of the driver in front of them, and because they have the inside for turn 2 then.
Yeah, indeed they do, and this is what's all going to play into drivers' hands, isn't it, tonight? This is what's going to make it quite an interesting one to see who's going to be where, especially after that first corner. Because when you think when you get through that first sort of section, then it starts to open up a little bit more with that back straight. The sector 1 on the opening lap could be absolutely crucial tonight to drivers' successes or to their downfalls in this race. Let's give you a quick run through of the grid. At the moment, then, it is Gary Oldsim on pole from Gary Leach. It's then Jamie Lee in P3 from Neil Broom. Steve Millington P5. He's hoping for better internet connection tonight that should hopefully stay with him throughout the entirety of this race. So hopefully that is going to be a bonus for him. Sam Greaves P6 from Mike Hunt. Then it's Paul Williams from Brian Craig, Peckman from Dronelander, Gabino from Johnson. Should have been Taylor from Argent, but Argent is back in the pit lane, so he will miss the start of this race. Wolski's P16 from Sam Williams. Then it is Lino from Unsworth, Benny Varga with Nuke Waste. Now, a new thing for this season is that drivers who haven't yet done a race start at the back of their respected class. Nuke Waste's first GT3 race this afternoon, so he will start at the back of his class. Jimenez's as well, and then we've got Stothard in this one, who is silver. He's not bronze, he is a silver rated driver, so that one will be amended for next week. We then got Darren Bell, the leader in bronze, from Phil Atherton, Privet from Malarex, with Ian Best, with Beto starting from the pit lane. So 29 drivers. There was meant to be 31, so we've got 2 drivers missing at the moment. Either way, I'm looking forward to this one. Who's your money on looking at race 1?
Ooh, good question. I'm not sure. I'm looking at 13. Can you scroll back to the top? I'm not sure who's starting up front because I'm spectating 13th for to let you know if anything else happens.
Yeah,
but I mean, Gary Leach P2. I mean, Greaves finished P3 last year. I know I mentioned that multiple times, but because he finished P3 last season, not been having a great year this year. I think Gary Oldsim has a good chance as well. Millington finished P3 in this feature race around 1. If he can stay out of trouble in this first lap, I think he probably has the best shot here.
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to go the way of Gary Leach because I think it's going to be hard to see who could beat Gary Leach around this circuit. I think he is going to look like the man who could do a few bits this evening. It's going to be an interesting one to see what he can do, though, as we're about to get underway here at SimPlay Motorsport for the 5th race of the season. Kieran says he read it up but kicked to the pit lane. He's not sure what's happened there. Good evening to Andrew Aberdeen. Peaceful Stepdad, Caitlin Berserker, Gary Clarbull in the chat, Lucy Bro Pro, that is Jimenez. Beto's in there as well. So a good evening to everybody in the chat at the moment. Getting ready to go. We're green and go then here for round 5. Jimenez has got himself a drive-through penalty, but look at Gary Leach. As Jamie Lee ends up back in the pit lane as well. Gary Leach right around the outside of turn 1 in towards turn 2.
Ooh.
Little tap on the rear of Old Sim. That puts Old Sim into a spin, and Gary Leach takes the lead of this race. Millington's got himself up into second place at the moment as well. And this could be an interesting one so far for Gary Leach, and as Neil Broom at the moment. He's moved up into P3. The 2 Porsches are sat in 4th and 5th as we come through the first sector. Jason Lee into the pit lane and a drive-through penalty for that of Jimenez. Argent and Beto coming out the pits now as his lead, but we're currently on board with the Porsches looking on the back of the Honda in towards the first of the hairpins, and through they go. But a bit of a crazy start. They look clean mostly everywhere else, but Gary Leach and Old Sim making contact there.
Yeah, I think Dronelander, I could be wrong. It looked like a red Ferrari hit the inside of someone at the first corner, and Dronelander goes down the inside of, I think that's Craig. Wow, that's exactly what I mean at the hairpin that opens up. He's right behind the Nissan now of Johnson. Yeah, it looked like a clean start, a little chaotic mid-pack, but overall good.
Yeah, pretty good at the moment. Back with Williams down in 8th place. You've got Brian Craig and Benny Varga, the championship leader. We'll get more into the championships after into the next qualifying session. Obviously, he was rushing around trying to get his microphone set up and not working properly, so we apologise for not mentioning that as Benny Varga gets up the inside at the moment. Andrew Taylor's back down in 13th, leader of bronze so far. He's not Stothard, remember he is a silver driver. It is Malarex at the moment best. He's worked his way from the back of the grid up to 3rd in bronze. He's ahead of Wolski, so a bit of drama's down the order, but after lap 1 it's Gary Leach from Steve Millington, from Neil Broom, then it is Hunt with Johnson looking up the inside. That Nissan look faring fairly decent at the moment as it comes through the opening stages of the lap. Dronelanders currently now in 5th with Sam Greaves just dropping now behind what looks to be Williams. Williams on his inside coming into the complex, the second of the complexes, and Williams up the inside. Good move there. He's making his way through. He's got to try and take advantage while Benny Varga's behind him at the moment. In fact, where is Benny Varga? Well, he's made an early pit stop. He's in. Jimenez in for his drive through. Atherton and Old Sim Racer in as well.
Yeah, good start for Gary Leach. He's out in front, has the clean air. I mean, if he keeps this going, I mean, he could be on his way to a win. But Benny Varga pitting early to get that clean air himself, and that might prove beneficial for him, as I think that's Dronelander looking up the inside of Hunt at the hairpin, not going there. But yeah, this hairpin, I mean, these drivers are making some dive bombs right now. We got 2 down the back straight. It looks like Broom and Johnson going through the fast right-hander right now.
It does indeed, as Johnson has got on the inside of Broom. So that's a move done for Johnson. Moves himself up onto the podium. The Nissan looking really quick on the straights, quicker than the Honda at the moment. Hunt fending off that of Dronelander as Broom very, very wide. That'll pick up a track limit warning there. Hunt fending off Dronelander and Williams and Greaves and Gabino so far in this race. Taylor sat in P10 at the moment, so he is trying to go with them so far. I know it's Nissan, Rob. I didn't mean to do it yet again, but I heard Langley say it, and that's why it's came out. But good evening to you, Rob Ramsell, in the chat. There's a bit of dust being kicked up there, and we've got Broom and Gabino into the pits early on. But it is Gary Leach, like we said, leading out front. Leader in bronze, Malarex, is into the pit lane. Then that frees up that of Darren Bell to take the lead now in bronze. Stothard is a silver driver, so that one is wrong on that one. So Ian Best now moves up into 2nd place in bronze at the moment. And where's the guys at the back of the pack? Benny Varga, Old Sim and Kieran Argent all did their pit stops on lap 1. Kieran Argent looking a little laggy tonight. His internet doesn't look very stable at the moment. And Benny Varga, he's still quite a way away, isn't he? Looking, he's got a bit more of the track to.
Ooh, Dronelander's looking down the inside of Hunt. They're now out of the banked hairpin, going into, I think that's 7 and 8, where it opens up. Dronelander looking back down the inside. Can he make the move stick? No, he cannot get his nose inside, and Hunt holds on to the position.
He does indeed. So Hunt hangs on to that one. They've got Williams sat behind them, who's going to want to try and make up some headways in this race to get himself back in this championship fight. Unsworth is a driver I've not noticed who's in yet, which is a shame because he's running 2nd in the championship at the moment. So Williams looking racy on the back of Dronelander. Dronelander went a little deep for the left-hand kick. Now comes across and Williams has been collected, and they somehow split that of Hunt there. How they didn't collect him through the hairpin as they were sliding across the grass, I do not know. Now where did Benny Varga get up to after the pit stops? He got ahead of everybody. Now might be the time for Dronelander and Williams to come into the pit. Steve Millington is in. Dronelander stayed out. Who is that? In fact, no, there is Unsworth behind Dronelander, so apologies. Unsworth is in. Williams and Taylor also come in as Unsworth now pulls out. Someone's being shown the meatball flag, and I'm not quite sure who. I saw it waving on the start line there, but I'm not sure who for. So the car behind Williams, behind Dronelander and Unsworth, is that of Argent. So maybe because of the internet connection for Argent at the moment, it is just lagging him out a little bit. Where is Argent up to actually? Because he should obviously be up there, but I can't see Argent on my timing tower. I cannot have either. Been lapped in the pits. He's saying he's down in last, 7 seconds off the back of Jimenez, and yeah, they've been lapped. Driving. They've been lapped in the pit lane, so yeah, so they've already been lapped by Gary because they've done their pit stops and obviously had that pit lane start. At the minute, it is Unsworth on the back of Dronelander. How they didn't hit Hunt there, I'll never know.
Yeah, and remember the meatball flag could also be for headlights not on. Yeah. In this instance, I still see it waving. I'm not sure if it's just a visual glitch. Does Argent have his lights on for you? Because for me, he does not.
Let me go down and just have another look. No, for me, he also does not. So he needs to get the headlights on if it is for Kieran Argent. Then, but if he is lagging a little bit, his internet connection was red. It's dropped down since, so they could be on his end. Let me just double check his stream a second and see.
Because the meatball, we might see the meatball flag on our end, but it might not actually be a thing like so on their end.
His headlights on his stream are on, so that could just be the fact that he's lagged a little bit and it's glitched them out on our end. Overtakes for the pit runners. That's Taylor ahead of Broom, with Malarex looking up the inside of him. Phil Atherton's back in the pit lane, so he's down to 29th at the moment. Steve Millington is your lead pit runner, 2 seconds clear of Benny Varga. Andrew Aberdeen in the chat saying an unsporting move by Leach. Shocking. It's a bit out of character for Leach, that one, so hopefully he'll get that one sorted out into race 2. But at the moment, doing what he needs to do. 8 seconds clear of Johnson in this race, and the closest fight on circuit is actually that of Malarex, following that of Broom through the final sector of this circuit. The Honda versus the Aston Martin, silver drivers versus bronze. Remember, there's points all around for everybody. Bell coming under some pressure from Williams. So Malarex ahead of Bell at the minute. Malarex is your net bronze leader, but Bettison and Best still to pit. Remember, Stothard is that of a silver driver, so he has still got a bit of work to do in this race. So we'll see what Stothard can do as he goes along through this one. We've got Hunt on the back of Johnson now. That's 9/10 of a second separating them two. We're going to go back down to that Broom and Malarex fight for the time being. Did Bell, in fact, no, Bell's hung on over Sam Williams at the moment, so Sam just being held by Darren Bell at the minute. You feel like Sam's going to have the pace over Darren Bell. And they're passing a few guys coming out the pits. That is Peckman and Paul Williams coming out the pits as Bell's looking up the inside of Peckman. Williams was looking up the inside of Bell. Bell looks to make the move on Peckman. He gets through. Does Williams follow him through? Not sure. Paul Williams is slow. Sam Williams gets Peckman. Does he go right around the outside of Paul Williams? He does indeed. So both of them two lose 2 places in one corner. Good move from Darren Bell and Sam Williams here.
Yeah, for sure. The fight I'm keeping an eye on, it's not on track right now, but this pit stop battle between Gary Leach and Millington. I think Millington has clean air, but Varga is closing him down rapidly, so we could have a 3-way fight for the lead in the blink of an eye soon.
Yeah, indeed we could. So Steve Millington at the moment sat in a good bit of clear air, but like you say, Varga, fastest man on circuit, is catching him at a rate of knots so far in this race. So he's looking for just to extend his championship run, and at the minute, where's Michael Johnson going to come out the pit lane? Because if we go on board Steve Millington, they're going to pass Johnson. You'll see him there on pit exit. Now the pit exit takes a while to come off the limiter, so these two are gone and have jumped him by a country mile. Lino also looks through, as does Gabino, as does Dronelander, and potentially now Wolski. The P now gets removed from Johnson. He can emerge on track. There's Dronelander. There's Johnson. So Johnson's lost a handful of places in the pits. Stays ahead of Wolski though. But Gary Leach got to be cautious at the moment in this race as to where he will appear on the track. In this race, Best has got Nuke Waste on the back of him. Best is your current net leader in terms of the fact that he hasn't pitted in the bronze category yet. That could go the way of Malarex depending on where Bestie pits.
Yeah, for sure, and I think Vargas set another fastest lap. I mean, he's closing down Millington really quick. Spread out just a little bit, but I think this pit stop battle is going to make things interesting very soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on as Stothard into the pit lane, and a Nuke Waste also comes in. Varga now within 7/10 of a second of Steve Millington. We've got Broom, who's still fending off that of Malarex. Williams still on the back of Darren Bell, just cannot get past him at the moment. Paul Williams is being caught by Peckman here, and Jimenez looking on the back of Old Sim as Old Sim looks a little twitchy through the first of the hairpins. That is one of the Porsches. That is the lead Porsche then of Hunt and Greaves, about to put a lap on these two. Gary Leach has checked out, but he's coming up to the traffic. Not just yet, maybe in a lap or two of Peckman, Williams and Bell. Bell has now lost out to Sam Williams. These four still going at it, so Sam Williams is ahead of Darren Bell, who has a slide out to one of the corners. Track temp down to 17 degrees as it is in the ambient. Nuke Waste coming out the pit lane. Well, Varga is already through. Where's Gabino? He's already through. Nuke Waste going to tumble down the order here, the 159. is just exiting the pit lane now. The 169 is also in the pits. That is Stoffard. So Stoffard at the moment has jumped in front of Waste in the pit lane so far. But a good four-way fight between Williams, Bell, Paul Williams, and then Peckman down the order, with Old Sim now chasing Jimenez as Jimenez has got past.
Yeah, Leach is in the pits, but it's going to take over a half a lap for us to see what happens.
Sorry, Langley, drive-through penalty for the track limits. Wolski in the 15-minute race, a track limits penalty for him, so that's going to tumble him down the order.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention, like when you asked me to describe the track. This is probably the first track of the season where track limits are very difficult, and you will see multiple drivers possibly getting drive-throughs in the race. It is very easy to overstep the limits here.
Very easy to overstep the limits. We'll see what these drivers can do in this race then, but already a drive-through penalty for that of Wolski in this one. We're watching the Broom and that of Malarek's fight. Going to go back to Steve Millington though. He's coming under pressure now from Varga. Gary Leach is on his way out the pit lane. He's just coming past turn 1. So don't worry about if you see Gary Leach on the outside. He's a bit further forward than what Johnson was. Here comes Millington and Varga. Where will Gary Leach appear? The pit limits are still on. It comes off now. Gary Leach will emerge on the outside of turn number 3. There he is. Steve Millington's got the jump on his teammate, but Gary Leach now trying to fend off that of Benny Varga. They're going to attack each other, the SimPlay Racing drivers, round the outside. Benny could think of looking up the inside of Leach now. The outside for the next part, and has to tuck back in, but Gary Leach with a little wiggle on exit. That'll be the cold tyres. He's now into second place, and Steve is out in front at the moment.
You know, that is very good from the two SimPlay drivers, not tripping over each other. They could have easily... I see Hunt now has a stop-go 30. I think that's for speeding in the pit lane. But very good from the two SimPlay drivers, not tripping over each other and giving Benny Varga the lead. So very good of Leach out the pits to not run into his teammate and to keep Benny Varga behind, because now Varga has to overtake two SimPlay cars to win this race. And can we get our first 1-2 of the season?
Could get our first 1-2 of the season. I assume that the ticket will win from Old Sim on Gary, so that may be looked at for that second place. But at the moment, it is a SimPlay Racing 1-2 from Sodor Racing Benny Varga. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, with only one lap remaining in this race, as Unsworth is in the pits, is it worth Benny Varga attacking these drivers with his closest rivals in the pit? This is what you've got to ask. You'll know from Pro-Am last year. Is it worth him, Benny Varga, overly attacking Leach and Millington, knowing that he's got to almost, think of that championship. If he comes into a bit of, depending on the track limits he's on, if he comes into a bit of a battle and gets a bit of damage, that could drop him down the field over his championship rivals.
Well, if Leach is Leach got a little loose, and now Varga's up the inside. I was going to say, he probably shouldn't attack because Leach is going to get a penalty. But he's in P2 now, so I would definitely try to go for this win.
Yeah, but Gary's got the up and under coming through turn number 6 there. Gary Leach is a man who will not let it up, and now gets the run down the back straight. Benny Varga moves himself into second place. Gabino on the back of Dronelander. Here we go. It's all looking good at the moment on the podium. Taylor trying to hunt down that of Sam Greaves. He's pretty much with him as well. Pretty good day out there from all these drivers so far. Stop go 30 for Hunt. He's into the pits now. Wolski has done his drive-through penalty. That has put him down to 22nd. And in the bronze category, Malarex leads, comfortable from Darren Bell, with Ian Best in third place, who's off the circuit at the moment. The next closest driver is Beto. This is huge for Bestie. Couple of cars between himself and Beto. That'll give him the extra few points in this championship fight. But as we come to the final couple of quarters, Steve Millington, whose internet has been all over the place for the last couple of weeks, he's getting new internet fitted tomorrow, so should hopefully be sorted for the remainder of the season internet-wise. Looks like he's going to take his first win of the season. He's got one more corner to go. Can he get it done around here? This is going to be the biggest question for Steve Millington. He'd love to take a race win out there in the sprint. Steve Millington wins at Misano with Benny Varga P2, Gary Leach in third place. Good result for Lino in fourth, Dronelander P5, Gabino in sixth. Then will be Michael Johnson in P7. Good result for the Nissan. Sam Greaves attacked by Andrew Taylor, but Greaves will take 8th. Andrew Taylor 9th, Unsworth in 10th, from Broome 11th. Malarex, your bronze winner, in 12th. Sam Williams 13th place, work to do in the second one. Darren Bell 2nd place in bronze, 14th overall ahead of Paul Williams. Nuke Waste coming round the final couple of bends for 16th place in this one and crosses the line there to take that ahead of Stothard, 17th. Silver driver, don't forget. Ian Best just going to lose out to Jimenez at the line, is he? Yes, he is. So Jimenez 18th with fastest lap. Bestie 3rd in bronze, 19th overall from Peckman, Brian Craig, Wolski, Bettison, Old Sim. Then it's Privet in 25th. Kieran Argent coming round for a 26th place in this one. With then Jamie Lee, I think it is, in P27. And Phil Atherton, we've got a bit of a way till we get to him, so we can get the results typed in now. But Stothard on debut, he's not bronze, don't forget, he is or will be in that silver category. Good result for him on his debut. Wolski down in 22nd, won't be happy with that. Benny Varga, we know, was 2nd place. Sam Williams 13th. Work to do for Sam Williams here. We've just got Phil Atherton coming into the final couple of corners. We'll get the results typed in a moment. But what a night here already in race 1. And Benny Varga says in the chat that Millington can thank Gary for the win. Well, Gary played that to perfection. DJ Phil 28th, and then Hunt coming down for P29 in this race. And that is all she wrote for race Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport. The championship standings per class are as follows, and Benny Varga has a 69 point over Lino, with Unswift now in third. Williams stays in P4 but is 114 points back. We then got Michael Johnson running P5 ahead of Wolski, with Andrew Taylor 7th. Gabino is 8th with Joe Lander 9th. Kieran Argent slips to 10th. Steve Millington climbs up to P11, good climb for him. Sam Greaves is P12. Williams 13th with Peckman P14. Brian Craig's P15 from Hunt in 16th place. Then it's Broom, Leach, Lane, De Block, Lee, Old Sim, Newquay, Stothard, Jimenez, excuse me, Flores, Davis, Cummins, and then Wainwright. Remember, drop scores take play today, so I will try and get Langley to maybe do the first interview while I get these drop scores sorted later on. In bronze, it is Bettison who has his lead cut short to 49 points to Malarex now in second, with Bestie in P3, only 62 behind. He's also cut the gap. Tucker's fourth, not here. Darren Bell moves up to P5 with Privet, Sturrock, Atherton, Smith, Simcoe, Cherrymore, John Andrews and Benny Archer bringing up the rear. The Teams Championship, it's Team Audio Sport out of Real Time Racing. Sodor Racing P3. He's an independent team entry running P3. Good for him. Quantum a P4 from SimPlay Racing. Then it's 4Q Motorsport, Team Merlot, Black and Blue Racing, Team Aspire, Greasy Bandits Racing, Balkan Sim Hub Team, SC Racing, Bearded Racing, SRC Motorsport, Team GBR, Billy No Mates and Roadrunner Motors at the back. Langley, we're into qualifying, and there was something you wanted to mention, wasn't there, going into...
Yeah, one thing I realized, I mean, it's been kind of a development over these past few rounds, but with the points not being first, second, third in class, with the points being overall spread out throughout the field, but you still getting class wins and podiums, especially in the sprint races where there's a lot of chaos to happen and it's a reverse grid. I'm realizing that the bronze drivers that finish up front or on the podium, like first, second, third, there are massive gaps in between them. Like Malarex got P12, and I believe you mentioned he passed Bestie in the championship, because Bestie was down in 20 something, I believe, but that it's because of how many more points Malarex scored there, even though in class he only finished like 3 positions ahead of Bestie. Or yeah, Bestie finished third. He was on the podium, because Stoddard is actually silver on this, as we keep saying. So Bestie finished P3, only 2 positions behind, but because Malarex finished so much higher in the overall, he gained so many points. So these sprint races, and I think we see it in Pro 2 with the amount of chaos to happen in a sprint race, we're seeing massive like ups and downs in the championship points for first, second, third, and where drivers are ending up. It evens out a little more over the course of an hour feature race, so it's a bit more even there. But in the sprint races where there's chaos happening, I'm seeing massive jumps up and down the standings each time. Good. So yeah, I think something to look at, and this going off the first race, I picked Millington to win. He did win, so good on him for making amends. I thought he was high. He shows good pace and just had a bad off week last week, so sprint win for him. Jimenez looked like the quickest driver on track. Unlucky to get that drive through at the start of the race, but he's out very early, 34.4. That is a great time for Pro-Am to start this. And Bettison in the bronze class up to P3. And I'd like to remind that Stoddard is in the silver class still. So he is still showing his silver pace as he's done all season. Malarex, though, up now P15 in the bronze class, though, still building off of his bronze class win. But yeah, Jimenez 6/10 ahead of Gary Leach and a second ahead of championship leader Benny Varga. That is rocket ship time. Rocket ship time.
He's looking good. Gary Leach could be second place at the moment. We're going to try and pick up the 59 of Steve Millington, the 159 is about to come to the line as well. So where does Steve Millington go? We'll try and pick up the 22 just after that. As Steve moves up into P4, the 22 is Kieran Argent. We'll then jump to the 75. Where does Kieran Argent go in his first lap of qualifying? All the way up to P11. So I'm trying to find the 75. That is Bettison again, running that silver pace that he's done all season at the moment. Well, that'll be an invalid time there. So let's turn our attention to Malarex, who won the bronze race last time out. Andrew Aberdeen saying that Xbox servers are having problems with, it looks like in other discords, loads of issues with ACC, and Project Motor Racing can't come soon enough. The 680 of Lino coming around the final couple of corners. This is going to be an interesting one to see what Lino can do. He looked decent, didn't he? He got that race win last week at the Nürburgring, in a P4 today. Lino looking like, at the minute, he's the one who could be the one to take the fight to Benny Varga.
Yeah, and I know you and I mean, we love Benny Varga. We both know him personally. But we also love racing. So we want a championship fight, and we want other drivers to be up at the front, and we want 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 drivers to be in the battle for a championship. So, I mean, that's the greatest thing about racing. That's what and the storylines from the beginning to the end of the season. That's what makes this so amazing. So yeah, I mean, if Lino can keep this consistency up, he's P9 right now. You said he finished P4 in the sprint. I mean, it doesn't matter if you keep that consistency going. If you're finishing top 5 over and over and over, those results are going to build up. And a little bit of what I was mentioning, if we exclude Bettison, because he's had silver pace all season and been in the top 5 multiple times, you see the bronze drivers are it evens out a little more. Malarex is putting on a great performance right now in the bronze class, trying to capitalize off of his sprint win. But yeah, it evens out a little more in this. So that like sprint race where all the chaos happens, and especially at a night race like this, you see more variables into where people are finishing. But yeah, I mean, hopefully Lino can put this up there, top 5, top 3. Who was he racing last week? It was another or it was a McLaren, right?
Was it De Block? It may have been De Block, wasn't it?
It was someone else. I don't remember who it was. I will look real quick. It might have been De Block. I do remember him up there. So, but I remember it was 2 drivers who had never won in SimPlay before, and I believe De Block won the sprint race.
Jamie Lee.
Yes. And I do. There he is. He's up in P7 as well. So if we can get them up at the front again, I think Varga is gonna, as of right now, even though he's down in P8, if he can put a lap together, the consistency he showed in the first race. I mean, he started 20-something and finished second. It's that kind of consistency that wins you championships.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimenez has put in a 33. That's
almost pro pace. That's
pro pace.
That is almost pro pace. He's looking rapid.
There will be drivers, maybe me included, who do not hit that time tomorrow night, depending on the weather. I mean, I believe it's similar weather, almost identical. But I mean, that's still a great time from Gary Leach, and there's Lino right there up into P4. I think I missed that, but yeah, back up into P4 now, P5 now. Gerbino P4 pips him right then. That's a great time from him. I know he did win a sprint race last season. Wolski P6, Bettison P7, Lee, as we were talking about, P8, Varga P9. That top 10, I mean, we have names that have not won races this season, or haven't won races in a while. I know Gary Leach has multiple race wins and championships, but when's the last time he won a race? I mean, it's almost like I mean, in real life comparisons, we're talking about like Lewis, like from when he won in Saudi to when he won the British Grand Prix in 24. Like that's a massive gap, but it's someone who had won a lot and just hadn't won in a while. So a little bit like that. I mean, Steve's now has his first win of the season. Had a podium in the first round. Jimenez, reserve driver, has not won this season. Varga's your championship leader, puts it up into P4. Gerbino hasn't won the season. Lino's possibly making a championship challenge. Wolski's up there. I don't think he's had a podium this season. I could be wrong. Sam's had a podium, no win though. Lee was
Wolski
battling
got a
for the
podium
win last
back at
weekend.
Alton Park, if you remember back to the first weekend.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Podium there, so an interesting qualifying at the moment with 2.5 minutes. Yeah, Phil, I know I'm quiet at the moment. It's not sure what is happening. The microphones just aren't picking up as loud tonight as I would have hoped. So yeah, if I am a little quiet, then I do apologise. I've tried to adjust the other volume of the browser source to not make the car so loud, but at the minute, you have to say that lap from Jimenez, Gary Leach within 4 tenths, Steve within 6 tenths, Benny Varga within 9 tenths coming back out the pit lane. That is such a good lap from Jimenez. He can bail to the pit lane because 4 tenths around here will be tough to find.
Yeah, he just needs to not get a drive-through like he did in the sprint race.
Yeah.
I think that's what really cost him. Because the pit lane around here, I mean, you remember Alton Park? I believe Johnson got the drive-through in Alton Park. He still finished, I think, just outside the top 10, maybe right in the top 10. Because Alton Park's a short pit lane. Doesn't take long to get through there. I think like 17 seconds. But here it's like 30 something.
28 seconds.
Yeah, so that it's 11 seconds. And with this track being easier to get track limits, it's a lot more punishing in terms of track limits around here. I mean, I got a drive through around Alton Park, and I finished top 20 still, which I was happy with at the time. But it just shows if you get one here, it is very detrimental to your race time. So if he can get a clean start, he's definitely looking as the favorite.
The problem around here, Langley, is it's not the pit lane itself, it's the exit. You come past them garages, you're on that pit limiter for so long until you pretty much come to roundabout where Bettison is now as we see him on the track. You're kind of coming halfway through turn 2. You then come off the limiter to come straight out the pits. It's a very long pit exit, which I think adds to that. Otherwise, it's a relatively short pit lane. But the pit exit is so long until the limit you can come off the limiter that's where it begins to hurt you. Looking at the qualifying though at the moment, only 4 drivers within a second. 3 other drivers, within a second. It's very close. So you look at Sam in 5th, all the way down to P21 is separated by a second. It's a second pretty much separating the top 4. So huge difference out that top 4 from 5th downwards. And I suppose that's the bonus. That's what this circuit brings, isn't it? Right? It brings that kind of, you've got to be on it until the very end to get a lap time on the board. You've got to be on it to get a to get a lap time, and you've got to feel that rhythm, get that flow. Unsworth hasn't set a time. He's about to set one now. Hopefully, this will be his last run of qualifying. It's a slow one, 4.7. Must run out of fuel at the end. The 107 will next finish qualifying. That is Wolski, 1.2 off the pole, in 9th place at the moment. And then there is a couple of drivers on track. Benny Varga isn't on an invalid lap. He's just come to do one last run. That'll be invalid for Wolski, so that's probably not going to be an improvement from P9. As you can see him slowing down. We'll just see him across line. Yep, slows down there, so that's not going to be an improvement. The 680 of Lino, who is sat P8, 1.2 off the pole. Can he find a 10th? Moves him up 3 spots. So a 10th of a second puts him P5. 2 tenths will put him onto that second row. He bails to the pit lane, so he's not going to improve. And
then Kieran Argent is next. I believe he's on a lap as well.
Benny's next because he's on.
Oh no, Benny Varga and then Kieran Argent.
Yeah, Kieran after. So Benny Varga, 3 tenths to take 3rd place, half a second to get on the front row, 9 tenths to put himself on pole. Is he going to be up? Is he going to get pole position? He improves, but it's only by a tenth, so stays in P4. Kieran Argent down in 13th. Needs to find a couple of tenths to move himself up the order. Gets to the line. Doesn't find a lap time there, so Kieran Argent will settle for that P13 spot.
Privet P2 for the bronze class.
That's a heck of a qualifying. Yeah, Privet P2, Malarex P3. Stothard, remember, once again, we keep saying it, is silver. Bestie P4. Darren Bell didn't set a lap time. DJ fell a little off the pace also. Interesting there for Darren Bell. But that's the track limits, right? You just cannot get a lap time in with the track limits around here. It's so hard.
It's very difficult. It's give and take. As I said, this entire track is give and take. How hard do you want to push, and but how much do you want to just get a lap time in? 1 second, Matt. I will be right back that's for race start.
Fine. Yeah, no problem. So Bettison takes the bronze pole, the first pole for Jimenez in this one as he takes pole in the silver category. So a good qualifying for him there. Where is the Honda of Broomers? I mean, put in the data. He's down in 24th. Privet, like we said, second in class. He's 19th in this one. Steve Millington and Gary Leach, they look up for this one tonight, don't they? In the SimPlay racing cars, they have looked in fine form so far at the moment in this race. Malarex P20, Paul Williams P18. If you're wondering why I'm saying I'm in a random order, that's because I'm doing the spreadsheet to work out the pole positions. And it gives us our average for qualifying and thus for and so forth. Peckman, where was Peckman in qualifying there? P15 for him. Jimenez, pole position as we've said. Phil Atherton down in 27th place. Cummings, he's not here tonight, so we need to make that one black. Gabino is 6th. Nuke Waste, where did Nuke Waste qualify? 17th, not too bad. Old Sim, after his race 1 incident with Gary Leach, he's down in 16th place. Unsworth only just put a slow time on the board. He's 26th. Kieran Argent up in 13th. We've got Ian Best in 25th. Cherry Moore's not here, so we need to colour that one in black as well. Brian Craig in his Lamborghini. No teammate for Brian Craig tonight. Tucker's not here. He's 22nd, so Tucker, colour that one in there. Lino is 8th. Dronelander P7. Good qualifying for Dronelander. No DeBlock. Call that one in. No Simcoe. No Sturrock. Lee, he's P11. Stothard is P23. Wainwright isn't here either, so we can just colour them now. But that is your qualifying order set. I'll get the poll out in a moment for who we think is going to take the race to win. But it is that of Jimenez on pole. Got that drive through in race 1. It's going to be now about, can he keep it within them limits in race number 2? Gary Leach, second place for the second race in a row. The question is, can he get out of turn 1 without any dramas in this one? Then, don't forget, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give it a big thumbs up, and hit the bell to be notified when we go live, as well as a big, massive thank you to our sponsors out of Audio Sport and Design Manchester, who are absolutely fantastic sponsors. We have hit that 1,100 subscriber mark, so thank you all so much for those who do subscribe to the channel and tune in, week out. We'll be back with the pros tomorrow night, myself and Kelly Davis. As we see Little Leach in the chat, my oh my, there's a name we haven't seen in an absolute while. But good evening to Little Leach. Craig, hope you all very well. He says Gary second. Go on, bro. Indeed he is. He's second place, third in the first race. But to Craig Leach, a long-term veteran, I suppose, of the SimPlay channel. How are you, my good sir? Hope the family's well, Craig. And hope you're doing well as well. So then we get ready for the second race. Good, welcome back, Langley, in the chat. Then we are back for this second race here at Misano. Night race coming your way here on ACC. Remember, myself and Kelly will be back in the commentary box for Pro tomorrow night in what should be a cracking race around the Misano circuit. And then we head across Italy to Imola. Not very far. We cross to Imola, though, for the evening race next time out, where Dan Davis will be bringing you the Who Darren Cup. Myself and Langley will be back for Pro-Am, and then myself and Kelly will be there for Pro. As let's go, says Berserker. Mike Matthews must be on his ironing board again, says Mike. For those who don't know, Gary Leach, in the very first season, won his very first championship on Craig Leach's ironing board and in his armchair, because he had a power cut at his house. Good to hear, Craig. Craig, an old veteran of SimPlay. Pro-Am champion as well, back in the day. And multiple Pro Constructors winner. With his brother Gary. But we come into the final corner now. And race number 6 is about to get underway. And let's see what will happen in this one. It's Jimenez alongside Leach for the start of race number 2. Round 6 of the season. Drop scores take play tonight. 1 hour's worth of racing coming your way. We're green and go. And for the second time here at Misano, Gary Leach gets a great start. Benny Varga's going with him. Gary's going to try around the outside of Jimenez. Jimenez better on the brakes as we come through the first couple of corners. Gary this time can't attack Jimenez the same as he did old Sim in the first race. Benny Varga tucks into P3 ahead of Steve Millington now then, so a good start there. That is Williams and Gabino going side by side just behind Williams, laid on the brakes nearly into the back of Millington. Gabino will get the up and under on Williams there, and through he goes once again. We've got Wolski having a fight with that of Jonelander just down the order as well. Lino is in that one with that of Lee. They've already split. The top runners have the guys at the front, and Millington putting pressure now on the back of Benny Varga at the start of this one. We all look cleanly away. There's a bit of a gap though between Lee and Argent. Argent running up in P11 place, so he's got 2 places back in this race, and look at that in the background. The the Ferrari of Nuke Waste hanging on for dear life over the BMW of Old Sim, and Privet as well in this one. Great start to this second race, all cleanly away, Langley.
Yeah, much cleaner and through turns 1, 2, and 3 this time, and down into turn 4, the little hairpin, and into turn 5, it looked like Argent just barely clipped the back of Hunt. I mean, didn't really spin him around, just sent him into a half spin, but other than that, 1, 2, 3 was very much cleaner this time.
It was indeed, as Malarex has had Hunt Greaves go on the inside of him, and Greaves going up the inside of Privet, bit of door banging there, and Greaves gets through. Now we've got Malarex coming under pressure from Darren Bell. Darren Bell's got through, he's looking to try and get through on Privet, and he does indeed. Now Unsworth has got past that of Malarex, he's trying to get around the outside of Privet. Into the final corner they come, and can Unsworth hang on here around the outside of Privet? There you go. Going to take the longer way round. That's not going to work out for him. Doesn't get a better exit, so he tucks back in behind Privet, but across the line it is Jimenez gapping Leach. Leach coming under increasing amounts of pressure from Benny Varga. It is M4 versus M4. Then it's Millington, Gabino, Williams from Wolski, with Dronelander sat behind. Then it's Lino and Lee. Bit of a gap back to Argent before it's Peckman, Bettison, Nuke Waste, Old Sim, Hunt and Taylor. What's happened, Langley?
Varga had a run on Leach, just hit the rear of him, didn't spin him around, just a little bumper banging. That's a bump draft, as we call it in NASCAR.
A little bit of bump drafting between the M4s and Varga on the back of Leach. Still in this race, Taylor's behind that of Hunt before Williams, and it's Greaves and Darren Bell going at it before Privet. Unsworth hasn't got past Privet yet. Then it's Malarex, Ian Best from that of Brian Craig. Side-by-side action of Stothard and Johnson working his way through the field. Then it's Broom and Phil bringing up the rear at the moment. But a cracking fight out front between the leaders. Jimenez has already checked out over Gary Leach in this one. And it's worth mentioning as well, we haven't mentioned it yet, that Mustang loses 21 kilograms and loses has a 20% restrictor on it as well. Millington a bit closer to Varga at the moment at the front of this pack, but it's the fight between Taylor and Hunt that is worth keeping our eyes on at the moment, because that is the closest fight on track. And Hunt in the Porsche, you have to feel that Porsche is going to be at a disadvantage tonight with all the long straights around this circuit.
Yeah, we got Privet and Unsworth going side by side through the final corner. Privet does not get a good run at all, and that leaves the door open for Malarex. But Malarex is on the outside into the marbles, and Privet keeps that position on him. It looks like Johnson has a run on, I think that's Brian Craig, around the outside into turn 1. Gets the move done. Can he keep it out the back of Bestie? Almost hits the back of Bestie, but still keeps the position on Craig. And that might leave the door open for Stoddard. Now around the outside, turn 3, very hard to keep the grip and loses the rear end.
And that's what you were saying there, just very hard to keep the grip, and it was there for Stothard there. He just lost the rear, had a wiggle on the car and managed to hold on to it. Gabino, fastest man on the circuit. That's put him onto the rear now of Millington. We got Dronelander sticking to Wolski. A great fight out front, and this is all behind the Gary Leach train, because it's Leach from Varga.
No, Dronelander's hit the back of Wolski into the hairpin. Dronelander on the inside doing donuts basically. Wolski getting back going, but Dronelander way too late on the brakes down the inside, hitting the rear of Wolski.
Gets back on behind Unsworth and just ahead of Privet, so that's dropped him down to 21st. Privet's now got through, so it's 22nd. Malarex may fancy a look around the outside at the kink here. He'll be on that outside line, not always the worst line to take, and he's got it done around the outside and chops back in. Dronelander flashing the lights. I don't know where else Malarex was meant to go there, but Malarex gets through nice and cleanly from them boys as well. We got Bestie still fending off that of Johnson in the Nissan further back then. But yeah, Benny Varga and Gary Leach have put a bit of daylight between themselves and Steve Millington, who's coming under increasing amounts of pressure from Gabino, and Williams is right with them. And Williams needs to get back in this championship fight, because Benny Varga at the moment just starting to run away with this one, and yet he's only won the first 2 races of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Man, there's some tight-packed action down the field right now. It feels like anywhere you look, you got cars absolutely everywhere.
Indeed you do at the moment. Back down to Nuke Waste, who's on the back of Peckman. He's not far off the back of Bettison, and they've got Old Sim and Wolski after that spin with them as well. Oh, that's Bettison. Was Bettison off there? Think it was contact with that of
yes,
Peckman.
there was contact.
Peckman has gone slow. Wolski, Beto, sorry, into... Don't think he's hit the wall, actually. I'm just looking. He's got mate. Yeah, he has. On that right-hand side of the car, has definitely scraped that wall. So Bettison then with damage to his car. How is that going to fare? He's at the minute got plenty of cars between himself and his next driver in that bronze category of Darren Bell.
I think they've hit again. And then Peckman, or Williams, sorry, and Greaves, I think, no, it's Hunt.
Oh,
into
no!
the hairpin, and there's more contact.
Yeah, more contact. That's Peckman off. He rolls across the circuit, gets caught by Darren Bell and by that of Unsworth. This is going to allow Privet and a load of others to come flying through. Where is Ian Best in all of this one as well? So Malarex could capitalise in the bronze category here. Can Ian Best? As Johnson's bouncing across the inside curb. Up the inside of Darren Bell comes the Nissan, and through he goes on Darren Bell. Move done. Bell looks to get the up and under. Bettison is slow. Bettison is coming very, very slow. Has he got too much damage to his car, I wonder? And Bettison allows the traffic through. And has that put Bestie and Malarex through? Yes, it has. So for the championship in bronze, already taking a turn. And let's not forget, Langley, as we approach already the halfway stage of the season, with it being a 10-week calendar, Bettison hasn't got time to be losing places like this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what is going on? There's action absolutely everywhere, and I think that's Bell and Stoddard side by... No, it's Bestie and Stoddard side by side down the pack, and that leaves the door open for Craig around the outside. Very hard to keep it in track limits. Bestie's going to have the inside. I think he'll keep the position here.
Yeah, I think
there is action all up and down the pack right now.
Great to see at the start of this race. Bettison and Peckman into the pit lane then, so we'll see what they can do from here. Varga and Leach pulling away from Millington.
Taylor's tapped the rear end of Hunt, not sent him into a spin, but was down at the inside at the banked hairpin.
This has allowed Paul Williams to have a run now on Hunt, but Williams backs out of that. He's got Greaves just behind him. And Berserker saying in the chat that they're attacking it like as if it was a sprint, and indeed they are. Early on here, with 52 minutes left in this race, it does feel very sprint race out there. So Unsworth has now got back ahead of Privet as well, and Malarex is going side by side. It's a shame Johnson didn't qualify, because Johnson is on a charge in that Nissan, powers past that of Malarex in the Aston Martin, and he moves up into 20th place now.
Yeah, this is almost more chaotic than the sprint. Well, they sacrificed a clean start for a chaotic race. I said it evens out in the bronze class, but with this much chaos, I mean, you're going to get some chaos finishes anyway. So absolutely action-packed up and down the field, and Johnson looking up the inside of the final corner, hits the rear of Privet, and that leaves the door open for Malarex to get both of them. And are they going to go three wide into turn one? No way they are.
Bell's having
through the middle of them.
He is, and I think...
And,
he tapped
hit
Johnson.
The back of Johnson.
I think Johnson was going slow to allow Privet through. Bell's now hit the back of Johnson. So Malarex is now your bronze leader. Privet in second place. Bell is now in third in bronze. Stothard, remember, is in silver category. This is doing Bestie the world of good, staying out of trouble at the moment. And the bronze drivers are just falling by the wayside. Could Bestie be on for his first ever SimPlay win? Leach has had a moment because he's dropped to 6th place.
I have no idea what's happened up there, because the bronze class has been door banging all night, like they're at a super speedway in NASCAR. This has been unbelievable so far.
It's been unbelievable indeed here at Misano. The track temp 17 degrees, possibly going to get a little cooler, we expect, as the night rolls on. It is 2 in the morning, and yeah, it is action-packed wherever you look. The two drivers are back out on track and out the pit lane, but Gary Leach said, sorry, Williams there ahead of Gary Leach. Just had a little moment coming through the hairpin now into the final couple of corners. When do drivers choose to pit? There is no pit window, so they can absolutely pit when they want, and they can leave it till the very end if they must. But at the moment, this is going great guns in this race, and what a start to this race we've had. So at the moment, Bestie is technically 4th place in bronze with Darren Bell 3rd, but Bestie's right with the top 3 in bronze here, because they're all tripping up each other at the moment. Nuke Waste on the back of Kieran Argent, to fight between the Ferraris in this one so far. So it's going to be interesting to keep our eyes on this little battle as well. But what a night it has been so far. Gabino keeping that pressure on Millington. They just cannot stick with Benny Varga, who is nowhere near the back of Jimenez. Jimenez leading from the front so far. Great start to his race. This is exactly what he would have wanted. He can now get into a nice rhythm, Gray, and just can settle and focus on not taking them track limits.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the sun's gone down. Sun has gone down. The headlights have gone on, but they still can't see each other because they keep hitting each other out there. And yeah, Bestie, he hasn't got himself into too much trouble yet. And like you said, the bronze class just keeps tripping over each other. He said he doesn't have great pace tonight, but I mean, with the consistency and everybody else door banging, it could put him right up there.
Consistency is key, right? And that's all Liam Best has got to do in this one tonight. Back further forward, Wolski gaining on Greaves, who's on the back there of Paul Williams. We've got Hunt on the back of Andrew Taylor. Nuke Way still on the back then of Kieran Argent in this one. Lee has got past Lino, so it says he's within a tenth, but he's actually got past Lino somewhere then. Leach trying to hunt down again after Williams and Gabino, who is putting increasing amounts of pressure now onto the back of Steve Millington. Benny Varga's gapped him, and as his 3.9, I'm sure Varga would love a double, two sets of second places in this one, because he's just going to be picking up points. He's not going to be bothered about the wins. It's just points are going to mean the prizes for him.
Yeah, exactly. He got off exactly
drive through Darren
how
Bell.
he needed.
Sorry, Langley. Drive through Darren Bell. Track limits. 12 minutes into this race, and there we go again. Look, another bronze driver as Bestie's been swamped by Brian Craig. Now Johnson around the inside makes contact with Bestie as well, so Johnson spun around again. Bestie, after Darren Bell's drive through, will be up to a third place in bronze, and Darren Bell already in to serve it.
Yeah, I don't know where Bestie was meant to go. I thought he went all the way to the inside there, so unfortunate, but yeah, that's the first of, I think, many track limits tonight that we'll see.
Well, in the fun event 2 seasons ago, we did a Ford versus Ferrari. Rob Ramsell got about 5 drive-through penalties for track limits, I think it was, around here in an hour's race. So we're looking forward to seeing what Rob does tomorrow night in terms of track limits. But right now, it is this fight between Gabino, Williams, Millington and Leach that we are watching here. Lee and Lino a little bit off the pace, and I tell you what, who is on the pace is Jimenez. He is flying out front as drive-through cleared for Darren Bell.
Yeah, I'm still looking at this fight as Gabino is all over the back of Millington, but just cannot find a way through. Is he going to have a look down the inside in the final corner? Don't think so. No way past there. But he has the run out of the final corner. Gonna look to the outside into turn 1. If he breaks very late, he can get a good run around the outside and have the inside for turn 2. Late on the brakes, around the outside, turn 1, inside for turn 2.
Oh!
Job done, a little contact.
Yeah,
and that's going to leave the door open for Williams now around the outside of turn 3. He's going to get Millington on that one.
Yeah, he gets Millington on that one. Millington just tried to tuck him behind Gabino, it looked like, but hit the back of him. So Millington loses out there to Sam Williams. Gary Leach into the pit lane in this race then. So he's got his pit stop out the way. He clearly feels like getting out the way of the traffic. And Gabino...
Lee and Lino are off the track. The two... Oh, no, that is close. That was close to someone else running into the rear of them. Lino and Lee off the track, the two that were fighting for the win last week at the Nürburgring. I think they had an incident into turn 4-5.
Yeah, must have done here. And Gabino, as you were saying, that was slow to let Millington back through. So does he feel like that was his fault? As a Little Leach saying 6th. What is this, bro? Get the foot down. Well, he's in the pit lane, so he'll be able to get his foot down from there. And Rob Ramsell saying, how dare you? I was testing track limits in various locations for future references. We'll see if you do that tomorrow night or not, Rob. I can't wait to see how many track limit penalties you pick up tomorrow night. To be honest, I'm going to have loads tomorrow. Murky's struggling bad. There we go then. So be expected to see that from Rob Ramsell. Nuke Waste side by side with Kieran Argent through the kink, and Waste up the inside as Argent gets in a bit of a slide. Nuke Waste is through. Old Sim Race has got a front row seat to watching this with Lee on the back of him. Lino coming under a bit of pressure now from Taylor. And all this is happening whilst Lee's going back up the inside. Yeah, the outside of the hairpin, the inside for the penultimate, and Old Sim lets that one go. And all this is happening while Benny Varga and Jimenez are in a world of their own at the minute.
Yeah, I think Williams has clean air now. I think he was the faster out of him, Millington, and Gabino. So some clean air now. Maybe close on the back of Varga, but yeah, they've checked out. But the rest of the racing down the pack is you can't get away from them.
You cannot get away from them at all at the moment. And this is Peckman to the outside of what is to be Privet. That is Malarex with them as well. Is that Malarex putting a lap on them? Indeed it is, because he's 18th in class, but obviously he's yet to do his pit stop. Stothard here is P19. Like we say, Bestie's now running P2 in category after Bell is back into the pits. Privet is pitted, and so is Bettison. So Bell running P2 in class at the moment having a good scrap now with Johnson won again. Shame Johnson didn't qualify because he could be up there in this race, and Jimenez carry the tank. Jimenez only reserve. He can only do set races this year because of studies, I believe university he's at, so he can only do set races. But the American driver going strong in that Ford Mustang. It is really showing that 20% restrictor isn't holding it back at all. As Lino now has got past Old Sim. No, he hasn't. He was closer to the back of Old Sim. He's bringing Taylor, and Hunt's not a million miles away in this one as well. And is that Lee who's dropped down the order? No, it is not. So who was that? That was Paul Williams in the purple car, who was just a little further back in this one. And closest fight on the circuit is probably this one back here between Privet, Beto and Peckman. And though Privet is slow, that's got Beto through, and Peckman's got past Privet. So they're all through. Darren Bell in no man's land to these lot at the moment. He is well back after that drive-through penalty. And, yeah, Privet loses out a handful of places here. And there goes Stothard through as well to put a lap on him. So Privet possibly going to be struggling in this one. Was leading the bronze for a little bit. Now Taylor's on the back of Lino. Lino may be carrying damage. And you say Williams looking to get away. He's not yet pulled that far away from Millington. Millington within half a second of Williams at the moment.
Yeah, and one thing where was Leach when he pitted? Sixth,
yeah.
Right? So if you look at the track map, he's on the same straight as the leader right now, yeah. Which is showing that with how long this pit lane is, and you have to take a 30-second stop basically if you want to change tires, you're almost losing an entire lap. Oh. So the trouble with the group right now, where all these cars are with Argent and not Johnson, but this whole pack of cars, Argent, Lee, Oldsim, Lino, and there's contact. It looks like, I think, who is that off in the background there? Oldsim is off. Rejoined and
but flashing the lights, so not happy with something. Well, to go back to your question, you lose. So for a 25, if you don't change tyres, you just did the 25 seconds, you lose 58 seconds in the pits. So roughly around 64% of your lap lost. If you take tyres, it's 63 seconds, which is a 67% loss, and that is a drive-through penalty for track limits for Lee. We're not even 20 minutes in. We'd have only just finished the sprint, and that's 2 drive-through penalties for track limits already, so that puts Lee down the order. That'll give Leach an extra position when he makes his stop, but a 67%, that's because you're on full throttle for so much of this lap. It is so easy to lose a lot of it. So 67% of your lap lost, and if you think of Leach, with Jimenez already being about 4 or 5 seconds up the road before Leach pitted, then after Leach's mistake, that's about right to where he is in terms of Jimenez.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that if you're in this pack, it's going to be very hard to undercut because you're going to lose a lap, and you're going to have to deal with blue flags and get out the way for cars ahead. So it's going to be very hard to undercut if you're in this pack.
And I think this is what we've seen with the likes of Bettison and Peckman and Privet. When they've been having their scrap, they've been getting blue flagged at the same time, so it's almost as if their blue flags have cost them a little bit, in terms of time, because like you say, not only are you losing that time and you're down the order and you may have had a long pit stop with damage, you've also then got to try and negotiate the blue flags, and you're only limited to 3 corners, provided they're not silly corners like that opening section isn't really a corner. There's 2 sets of 3 corners, we can't really move out of the way, so that's treated as one. But it's an interesting one. We've got Dronelander now on the back of Wolski. These two have already made contact in this race. Dronelander, like a touring car driver, flashing the lights like mad, and he's going to try and look to get through here as Wolski's on the back of Williams with Old Sim just up the road. So no matter where you look, there's a good fight happening out on circuit. Mathew says it is this track Rob Ramsell knows more than most. So there we go, we'll see what happens there. But currently 20 minutes into this 60-minute race, 2 track limit warnings. There's a car off in the background. That is the 888 of Broom, who is a lap down and has made a mistake, and that is possibly it's put Beto through and Peckman and his teammate Privet. So Broom losing out a handful of places there. Darren Bell a little too far back at the moment after that drive through, and he's going to be getting blue flags from Gary Leach now, who is nearly going to be getting blue flags from the leader. So interesting. Back to Taylor, because he's on the back, or gaining on the back of Kieran Argent at the moment. So Argent's lost out to Lino, and he's now coming under pressure from his former teammate.
Yeah, I'm watching the battle between Greaves and Unsworth. I think Unsworth might have a run on Greaves down into this hairpin on the back straight. Is he going to take a look to the inside? I think Greaves is going to want to cover that. No, leaves it open, but breaks late. Is he going to make the corner? Yes, he is. He might have a run out of it, but no doing there. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be very hard to undercut tonight. And you mentioned dealing with the blue flags. I wonder if it's beneficial to stay out longer or just waiting until Jimenez and Varga and Williams pits. But yeah, those two are running away. Then we have a three-way fight for P3 in this race. And then we got it seems like everyone else in a pack behind them.
Well, we know from experience, being in the same stable, that I believe it's Clouden who helps out Andrew Taylor and Sam Williams. Then you've got Rob Ramsell helping out Gary Leach and Steve Millington, and Matt Wright helps out Bestie and Argent. And we know for a fact that, you know, Clouden and Wrighty and Ramsell could be sat in there sort of saying to their drivers, look guys, it's better to go long in this race, because if you look at where Leach is now, you get out where Leach is, you're possibly going to be lapped. And Jimenez still pumping in good lap times at the moment. Like I say, we've got this three-way fight. Where is Gary Leach? If you look at the track map, we're on board with Jimenez. Gary Leach is the car in front. Now Gary will be giving blue flags to Darren Bell. Let's go on to Darren Bell, see if we can spot any blue flags being waved. We're on board with Bell now. Can't see any blue flags at the moment. There's a marshal's post, no blue flags. So Leach just isn't close enough yet to be putting him under blue flag pressure, but Leach could soon be coming under that blue flag pressure from the leader. If you're Jimenez here, if you start to get closer to the back of Leach and that of Darren Bell, do you think of, well, I've got a good gap, I might pit, but also at the same time you might come out in a handful of traffic?
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to judge, even if you're like a race, like you said, like in the stable with other people helping others out, engineering for them. That's super hard to judge, even as an engineer, or trying to just figure out where you're going to come out. Looks like Dronelander has a run on the back of. Is that Wolski? No, Williams. It's not. Is that a blue flag car?
No, it's Paul Williams.
Paul Williams.
Not long got past him. I didn't catch the start to that one.
Goes up the inside. Good move.
Yeah. Brave move as well around there, because you're sort of coming from top speed, then having to just gear down a few, and good move that from Dronelander. It's going to be key now to see where people pit. Williams has put a second now between himself and Steve. That's put Gabino back onto the rear of Millington. Taylor putting Argent under increasing amounts of pressure. Teammates last season, or for the last two seasons, running in the Audio Sport and the Quantum colours this time. And Taylor looking to attack that of Kieran Argent. Current constructors leaders is Team Audio Sport at the moment, and Paul Williams is into the pits. This will be interesting. So Bettison is a lap down to even Gary Leach at the moment. Gary is the last car on the lead lap, and there's Jimenez behind Gary. We've also got Sam Greaves into the pit, so it'll be interesting to see where these come out in regards to Gary, because if Gary's got the leader on him, Varga's then about another 5 or 6 seconds behind Jimenez.
Who's
just
off?
waiting
63.
for him to...
I believe that's Johnson off. No,
it's
Privet
Bell's made
off.
a mistake. Bell's made a mistake right in front of Gary through the kink, so that's allowed Gary to get through. Darren Bell will rejoin on circuit. So at the minute, Varga 7.5 behind Jimenez. Where are these two? Williams is on his way out the pits. Now this is going to be interesting, because if Williams comes out the pits into that Williams-Millington-Gabino battle, he's going to have to yield for 3 blue flags in a row.
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be close, definitely. Let's see. He's still trundling down the pit lane. Yeah, he might come out right in the middle of this. We'll see. It might be right next to Benny Varga, actually.
He's got to stop now for speeding in the pit lane, so Paul Williams will have to come back into the pits. That is his race pretty much ruined, but he has come out just ahead of what looks to be Benny Varga, who's got ahead of Williams, and I think has just got Darren Bell in front of him. Yes, he has. So Darren Bell will have to yield for blue flags there, as the blue flags are out. So Williams not in a bad spot. Lino pits from high up the order. So Lino will be an interesting one. I'm keeping my eyes on when the leaders pit in regards to Gary. Wolski on the back of Old Sim now. Coming through. Where is that? Old Sim's had to take to an escape road through the first sector. Comes back on in front. And where is Kieran Argent? He's under pressure from Taylor, who's coming then with Hunt as well. So we've got 2 lots of 3-way battles happening here. We've got these 3, and then we've got the Old Sim, Wolski, and Dronelander fight, and Old Sim and Wolski make contact.
Yeah, I think that's all on Old Sim there. He needed to give that up. He cut the corner to stay ahead, and then it looked like Wolski was ahead, and then he got punted. Let's keep it honest here. He got punted in that corner.
As Taylor then got up the inside of Argent, went a little too deep. Argent comes back underneath, and the teammates of last season nearly making contact. This has opened the door for Hunt to have a look up the inside of Taylor, and
wow,
he gets past Taylor there. Great opportunistic move from that of Hunt. Taylor hasn't given this one up though on the outside. Lino still in the pit. Has Leach gone past? Yes, he has. Leach has also been lapped by Jimenez. So Lino has been jumped by Leach in this one by some margin as well at the moment. So Leach ahead. Benny, that is the 53, I believe, of Phil Atherton, who's just got ahead of Lino. But Gary now a lap down to the leader, and what a fight we're seeing here. Hunt with a great move there, and back behind, Dronelander and Old Sim are still going at it.
Yeah, I mean, they're still running into each other out there, Matt, and we're halfway into the race. They can't stop doing it.
They can't stop doing it. Taylor's decided to come into the pit lane as Old Sim now goes a little slow. That's possibly to return the place back to Wolski as he picks up the speed in towards turn one. So it's Jimenez from Varga, from Williams, Steve Millington fourth with Gabino in fifth. Newt Waste on his own really in P6. No one in front or behind him out there on the circuit at the moment. Argent seventh from Hunt. Then it's Dronelander in P8. Ahead of him is behind him is Wolski. Then it will be Old Sim as they come through now to update that. Unsworth is running in a P12. Malarex will be P13, obviously because Taylor's pitted. Then it will be Stothard, Lee, Johnson, Craig, Best, and then it's Leach, the lead pit runner at the moment, with Lino 3.1 behind him. So Lino going that bit longer than Leach has done him the world of good. Stop go done for Paul Williams. And where has that put him in regards to Privet? Well, Privet is ahead of him, and Darren Bell has not yet got past him, but Darren Bell can try and hunt down after Paul Williams now. But what a bit of racing, like you say, halfway through the race, and this is fantastic action from everybody out there.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's making things a little bit confusing because we have Lino, Leach, who have made pit stops, and they're in the top 10, but they're lapped right now because Jimenez has not made a pit stop yet. So it's a little hard to keep up from where they actually are on track, but I think the general, because they were all in a pack, you kind of know who is already racing who.
Well, Taylor stays ahead of Darren Bell there with blue flags, but he's got his teammate just behind Darren Bell to put a lap on the both of them in this race. So Taylor out next third in terms of the pit runners. We've now got Hunter Millington into the pits. Let's see where Gary emerges in regards to Steve Millington then. And Old Sim still on the back of Wolski to try and get that place back. I think Gabino, oh no, that's Millington who's pitted, so that's why the gap between Gabino and Williams is so big. But it's your closest fight on the track at the moment, that of Wolski and Old Sim in this race at the moment. What a race we've had out here at Misano today. It was brilliant in the Who Darren Cup last night. It's been brilliant so far out there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's been chaotic out here tonight. I mean, it's like Hunger Games out here. Everyone fends for themselves. You got door banging, you got bumper to bumper racing, you got fender benders, and like you got spinners, drive-throughs. What else could you ask for, really?
We've had a stop go as well into chuck into that mix with the stop go of Paul Williams. As Old Sim close now to the back of Wolski. We've got Dronelander getting onto the back of Kieran Argent here, who's running in a 6th place at the moment. Malarex has also pitted, so Steve's out the pit. So where's Steve in regards to Gary then? Steve's well clear of Gary, so whatever's happened to Gary Leach, it hasn't worked because Steve's at the hairpin of turn number 7, and Gary Leach has only just come through the first sector, so Steve is well clear of Gary Leach at the moment in this one.
I mean, that's still oh man, Dronelander's getting close to the back of Kieran Argent, 2 Ferraris, so if he has a look to the outside, it can make that move around the outside, have the inside for turn 2. Kieran defends, Dronelander tries to break deep, but no, runs onto the marbles, and now that's not going to work.
No, that's not going to work at all, and Kieran Argent will hang on to that one for another few moments. There's a drive-through penalty for Old Sim racer. Track limits, so drive-through for Old Sim for the track limits here. They're going to bite them tonight. What's that, 4 in this? Is that 4 in this second race, 1 in the first?
I think that's 3 drive-throughs and I think 2 stop-goes, maybe 1 stop-go.
Either way, track limits galore at the moment. We've got Phil Atherton, who's just been passed by Hunt. Hunt obviously not in Phil Atherton's race because Phil hasn't pitted yet. Gabino is... No, he's not pitted. Where's Williams? Williams coming out the pits now.
Yep.
Millington... Is he going to jump Williams here? Well, he's coming through turn 3. There's Williams, who appears just ahead of Steve Millington. So Steve nearly got the undercut on Williams there. And Sam Williams now has got Steve Millington with tyres up to temperature, crucially. Whereas Williams would have gone a little cold if he's changed tyres. That's probably for the better because they'd have been sat in the tyre blankets.
Yeah, exactly. And even though it's a night race, this track puts a lot of strain on tires. Yeah. It puts even more strain on the tires during the day, but because of how fast the corners are and how much you have to lean on the tires around the corner, especially in the last sector, this track is very hard on tires, so I don't see why it wouldn't be worth it to take tires here. I think everyone will take tires, but that puts a little factor in towards the end of this one as well.
Where's Drone Lander gone? Did he pit? There's drive through, that is for old Tim. He's got 2 laps left to do. Is Drone Lander pitted? Because we've not lost a driver, but he's not on the... Oh, he's got ahead of Argent. That's why I can't see him. He's got ahead of Argent by 2 seconds. So Argent has been passed. Wolski's now looking to put the moves on Argent. These two had a few come-ins together last season. And they've got old Sim with them, who's got that drive-through penalty. Gabino
Argent's very deep.
Unsworth in and Stothard in as well. And Argent struggling out there, Langley.
Oh,
they made contact.
Argent got... Yeah, and that's... Oh, Wolski's head on into the wall. That's gonna... Ooh, he's got to be careful reversing onto the racing line here. It looks fine, but that's gonna be near race done. He was the car behind. He probably needed... He's the one that needs to not make contact there. So he needed to overtake safely. That's probably mostly on himself there, unfortunately. He has been put in some difficult situations tonight, some incidents that were no fault of his own, but yeah, that one looked to be on him.
Yeah, it did indeed. So that's put to bed that one, and that's gave Old Sim as well an extra place over Argent, but Old Sim's got that drive through to do. The front two are in the pits, Jimenez and that of Benny Varga. Gabino came out the pits, by the way, 5 seconds off the back of Millington, still well clear of Gary Leach, but well off the back of Millington as well. Ian Best coming under pressure then from Paul Williams, who's a lap down to Ian Best, down in 28th. He's only 10 seconds off the back of Privet, so Williams wants to get on with this, but got to be reminded that he is the back marker car. Can't force anything here. Jimenez coming out the pit lane, as isn't Benny Varga, because he'll have probably another 9 seconds to go in the pit stop. Nuke wasting. Old Sim in for that drive-through penalty, so through goes Wolski. In fact, Wolski's not only at the final corner now, he's into the pits. Lee and Johnson stay out. What does Brian Craig do? He's also going to stay out, as Jimenez still not yet off the pit limiter. Through the penultimate corner comes Sam Williams. Neither's Benny Varga off the limiter yet. Drone Landers leading this race. Kieran's second place. Jimenez and Varga off the limiters now, as Williams only just gets to the line. And he comes with Steve Millington as well. So the leaders I've checked out, and Jimenez is well clear of Benny Varga in this one as well.
Yeah, I really, really, really don't want to jinx him, because his race twos have been questionable at most this year.
Williams, yeah.
But on course, yes, Sam Williams on course for his first feature podium this season. He's had a very good, consistent race so far.
Yes,
I really, really don't want to jinx him,
well,
but
he's got to try and
let's hope he keeps it the way it is.
Old Sim 0.6 of a second ahead of Williams, but this is going to be an interesting one to see what they can do then, because so far Williams has just got to negotiate past Old Sim. Now, if Old Sim can play this wisely and can think, you're not my race, you've pitted, so I'm not going to fight you too hard, but these are all racing drivers, and at the end of the day, they're going to want to race each other as hard as they possibly can. So Williams is, where is he? He's ninth place at the moment, 4 in front to pit, and then the 2 leaders. Like you say, he's on for his best race 2 finish of the season. Benny Varga's brought the gap down to him, and that's only 4.7, so did Varga not take tyres? Because that was over 9 seconds. Did Varga not take tyres? That could be interesting in his fight with Williams if Williams took tyres at the end of this race.
Either that or he just had a cleaner pit stop, but Jimenez had a lot of time to play with.
Yeah, that's what makes me think Varga's not taken tyres, to just get that little bit closer. We'll see anyway as we come to the end, but at the minute Olsen pits, and that's put Millington back onto the rear slightly of Sam Williams. So interesting to keep our eyes on what's going to happen here between these two, but one thing we do know is They're running 7th and 8th and are still a mile behind Benny Varga. Kieran Argent into the pits from 2nd as well, so these two will move up to 6th and 7th. It's just Johnson, Lee and Dronelander. Who's leading in bronze at the minute? It's technically Phil Atherton leading in bronze from Malarex. Stothard, remember, is silver category. He's down as the wrong category tonight. Beto's back up to 3rd after his early incident and damage. Bettison running a net 3rd place at the moment, but with Phil Atherton still having to pit, you'd imagine that's going to go back up the way to Bestie. So bronze kind of working itself out. And like you say, the race ones, bronze drivers picking up more points over their rivals. In the feature races, the bronzes are all pretty much together, aren't they? So this is where you've got to capitalise in them early races.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what Bestie has done very well this season, is the consistency aspect, staying out of incidents, especially in the first race, and that's where he's been able to pick up points. But for example, tonight, Malarex finished P12. Yeah. Now he is P17 right now, with a few more drivers to pit in front of him, but I think they might be able to stay ahead. But Malarex 12, and I think the next closest one was I'm not sure, but he gained a lot of points on the bronze drivers tonight, which is great for his championship.
He did indeed. Privet has had a moment coming through the kink. That's the yellow flag. We're currently watching the fight for 9th and 10th on the circuit at the moment between Gary Leach and Lino, the Italian driver on home soil. Gary Leach currently fending off that of the Ferrari driver, so we'll see what happens here. Johnson in the pits. These are about to be 8th and 9th. And Millington's actually on the back, a bit closer to the back of Williams than what this fight is. So Millington looking to attack Williams in this one. So interesting to see what's going to happen here for Williams as Millington looking on the edge of track limits, cutting through that corner, but we'll see what happens. Williams has pulled a couple of tenths on him in that first sector. We've got Unsworth on the back of Argent as well, so a couple of fights just developing at the moment.
Wait, what's happened to Benny Varga? There's a yellow flag. Is that a coming together with
he's
that Bestie in front of him?
That is Bestie ahead of him.
I'm going to go into replay and see what happened, because I caught that yellow flag, and that's going to bring both Millington and Sam Williams into play for P2 here.
It is indeed, especially if he's not changed his tyres, and them two have. And Bestie went wide and back through went Varga, so not sure what happened. You're going to go watch the replay and tell us what has happened. Leader and Johnson into the pits. That is Dronelander and Johnson in. Lee stays out on the circuit at the moment. But yeah, Benny Varga's been caught up by Williams and Millington. Gary still fending off Lino. Further back, Argent and Unsworth side by side. Coming into the hairpin corner. Argent on the outside, Unsworth on that inside line. And they both go deep, and Argent loses it on the marbles. And around he goes. Where is Malarex? All of this not bad. Close enough. What's happened out there, Langley? Before you get that, drive-through penalty 107. That is Wolski, so his night goes from bad to worse.
So, I mean, commentator's curse. We were praising Bestie for staying out of incidents. This is a sure penalty. He's pulled to the inside to let Benny Varga through, and he's been too late on the brakes into the hairpin. Hits the back of Varga. Pretty clear cut. Yeah, Bestie spins Varga around, and that's all that happened down there. He was trying to get out the way, but then broke too late into the corner.
We've got the Broom, trying to let Varga go, and through goes Varga. We've then got Bestie and Broom about to try and let Williams and Millington go. These two are having a cracking fight now. Broom is a lap down to Bestie, I believe. No, he's ahead of Bestie, so that's for position on circuit between them two, but they've got the leaders coming up at them, so got to be careful here, because Millington and Williams want to get through. Wolski's drive-through cleared. And now that's Privet who's got a drive-through, so they're coming in thick and fast. 21 minutes left to go. We've got Millington versus that of Williams, and we've got Lino with Leach on the back of him. Nuke Waste 9 seconds behind. Taylor has got Hunt catching him. Johnson in for his pit stop, so I don't think his pit stop happened first time around, because he was pretty quick to get out there, but yeah, at the moment.
Did he get a drive-through?
I don't think Johnson got a drive-through. No, he just must not have added fuel to the car. But so far, Broom and Bestie in front of that of Williams and sorry, that's Varga. Where's Bestie gone? Bestie's fell behind them two, so Bestie's let them two go, and Broom's going to hopefully do the same thing for Williams and Millington. He goes slow down the start straight. Through goes Williams. Through slowly, because Millington was a second back, goes Millington, and has that played into Bestie's hands? Well, yes, it has, because he's now on the back of Broom once again, and they also get past Johnson because he's had to do a double pit stop. Yeah,
so it looks like Jimenez is, unless he gets caught up in lap traffic, which As I say that, it looked like almost like one of the Porsches almost hit the rear of him, like Bestie did to Varga. It was very close, but if he doesn't get caught up in lap traffic, it looks like he's well and clear away for the win on this one. But we still have I mean, because of that incident, we have Williams less than a second for P2, and I don't know how much damage Varga has, but we'll see. We now have a big fight for P2, 3, and 4 in this race.
And this could be a big one as well, couldn't it? Because Leach has actually lost out to Lino. No, they're not. No, he hasn't, because they're side by side in towards the hairpin at the bottom end of the circuit. Leach back up the inside, gets through, runs a little deep. That could compromise his exit, and it does, because he gets a little wiggle. So Lino now well and truly through on Leach. But you're right, and this could be huge for the championship if Williams gets himself out of Benny Varga.
Yeah, for sure. And I know if you're Benny Varga, you want to stay ahead, but I mean, long term, does the position really matter that much? Does losing maybe 10 points matter? That I don't even think it's 10 points, but does losing that little points matter that much in this champion? Probably not. So if Sam Williams forces the issue to get P2, I wouldn't fight it too much. But that's so easy to say, just talking over, when, I mean, there's countless times where we're racing, and it's like, why would I give that up? So it's easier here to say that, but yeah, Williams is all over the back of Varga now.
Yeah, Williams all over the back of Benny Varga. This is going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. Leach hasn't, maybe he has actually now they crossed the timing line. Hunt still on the back of Taylor. Just trying to see any other battles happening down the circuit. None others. We keep our eyes on the Benny Varga, Sam Williams fight. I don't think Varga's changed tyres, and I don't think the contact with Bestie is going to have helped either, because if he is on all tyres and everybody around him has changed, well, Benny Varga is what? He's about 2 and a bit seconds clear of Millington, but the more these two fight, that's going to bring Steve into play. Gabino could then catch up a little bit as well. Maybe Varga could stay ahead of Lino with 18 minutes to go. He's some 16, 17, maybe even 18, 19 seconds clear of Lino, so we'll keep our eyes on this. But this is the closest battle on track at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I think you are right, because Vargas seems to be struggling on those tires out there. I think you're right. I don't know if he took tires or not, or maybe he's just struggling to keep temperature.
Yeah, possibly so, but he gained 5 seconds as there goes Williams having a bit of a slide. Gained 5 seconds on Jimenez in the pits. The difference in a pit stop this season is that 5 seconds, so unless Jimenez had a nightmare missing his box, I can only assume Varga's not changed tyres, but since the contact with Bestie, I'm not seeing too many. I know it's a night race, so it's harder to see, but I'm not seeing too many scrapes on Benny Varga's car. So I'm going to hazard to guess that either it's a little bit of damage that's hurting him through the corners, or it's the change of tyres that is hurting him now.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it looked like Benny Varga had a lot more pace than Sam in this race. So the fact that Sam is all over the back of him now does lead me to believe exactly what you said, that Benny Varga did not take tires in this, but we'll see if he can hold on. Definitely, it's when you're going this fast, it's no easy feat to overtake. Especially, I mean, it doesn't look like there's too much lap traffic ahead of him either, so that probably won't play a part. But we'll see. We'll see. If Benny makes a mistake, it looks like the rear end of that M4 is a little bit slidey now. We still got 16 minutes in this race, so something could happen, and anything could bring Steve right into play for P2 as well.
The more these two start racing, the more that's going to bring Steve into play. The 3-1-3, that is the 3-1-1, that is Peckman, who's just ahead of them. But then they've got some 8 seconds till they gain onto the back of Corsa. No, they've got a bit less than that actually. 63 of Privet. Lee still in the pit lane, so Lee hopefully can get back out to finish this race. Otherwise, he will not score points for this one. As Varga a little wide on exit through one of the kinks here. Got to be careful if he's running a few track limits here. I'm looking forward to the end of this, because this could be an interesting.
We do have an on-track battle right now. Wolski and Johnson have both had unlucky incidents in this race. Wolski went up the inside at the hairpin, a little bit of contact, a little push to pass. It gave the position back. Nothing too over the limit though. That's another very close fight right now for P24. Definitely both of them not races that they'll want, but racing for pride at this point.
Yeah, racing for pride indeed. Jimenez doing a great job out front in the lead of this race from Benny Varga, but he's under increasing amounts of pressure from that man, Sam Williams. Steve Millington hasn't got an answer for them at the moment. 1.3 is that gap so far. So Steve, not down to a second now, so he's starting to slowly make inroads. Is Steve here? Drive through penalty for the 663. That is Johnson's. That fight with Walski will be coming to a premature end.
Yep. Maybe I should have turned it off before that happened. It feels like anywhere we look, something happens tonight, Matt.
It does indeed. It's got that feel about it, hasn't it? Well, Williams, let's hope nothing happens to him. Like you said earlier, that's a car off.
Oh, who's that off?
Peckman. That's Peckman. So that'll be a blue flag they've not got to deal with. So that's kind of a bit of a sigh of relief, I suppose, for Benny Varga. But here we go. Down now onto the last couple of laps of this race. 14 minutes to go. And this is interesting so far. I'm really, really looking forward to tomorrow night. This could be a big one.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's going to be multiple dive bombs tomorrow night. There's going to be, I think, equal amounts of chaos as there was at the beginning of the race tonight. And Sam is all over the back of Benny. All over the back. He does have a run out the final corner. If he can tuck in behind the M4 and pull out to the outside, try to go around the outside, but no, Benny takes the racing line. Good on him, not defending clean air.
Yeah, not defending clean air, and this has brought Millington not really much into play just yet. Newt Waste has been passed by Dronelander, seeing the timings close there, but Millington not making the inroads he'd have wanted to do. Now Williams has another look up the inside of Benny Varga, can't get through on this occasion, so Williams starting to now look. This is where Millington's going to start to. And in fact, you see it there. Look, Williams must have made a mistake out the exit of the complex because Millington's now on the back of him. So how this race has started to ebb and flow already, but now Varga can breathe a sigh of relief, and Millington putting Williams under some pressure. This is all for second, third, and fourth in this race with 13 minutes to go here at the Misano circuit.
Absolute chaos tonight. I mean, Benny's a bit wide there, and now Williams is going to get a run out of the hairpin. Millington, not as good of a run, but yeah, absolute chaos tonight. Qualifying wasn't that close. Jimenez has absolutely dominated this feature race. He showed the pace in the sprint race. Unlucky to get that drive through, but absolutely dominated this feature race. Benny Varga P2 in the sprint, and Millington looking for another podium, but he won the sprint. This has been an absolutely amazing night of action, and even though it's dark, even though it's tough to see the cars, it was tough for the drivers to see each other apparently. But yeah, it's been absolutely action-packed all night. Brilliant racing. Brilliant racing, and we should go from the evening to the night time next time out, as Williams has quickly got onto the back of Millington in this race. Steve's now under a second to the pair of them, so this is going to be an interesting three-way fight. As we'll just drop back to Hunt and Taylor. They're getting a little close. Hunt coming under. No, he's not actually under pressure from Unsworth, so I don't know who that is behind Hunt. Maybe a back marker. Greaves gaining on Brian Craig. And in bronze, it's Malarex who leads from Bettison. Huge for the championship because Malarex is now second. Stothard, remember, is silver category. Bestie is third place in this race, and it looks like Lee may have retired from this one. But Benny Varga still coming under pressure in this race, and this has been brilliant from Williams and Millington to just keep at Benny Varga and just keep asking questions here. Yeah, the racer in me wants Williams to send it, and so we can get a three-way battle very quick. But yeah, I think Varga is definitely on old tires. I mean, Williams is closing on him massively in every braking zone there is. Varga looks like he's got the straight line speed in that BMW, but just not able to do it at the moment. Driver of the day poll has gone up. Me and Bestie would give our bronze and silver driver of the days at the end. But what a race this is. So I think I've already got my bronze. I think I'm going to have to go the way of Malarex for a double race when he's been the man to stop Bettison at the moment. So good night for him in terms of silver. Maybe Steve, for a first and a fourth at the moment. We'll see what happens. Benny Varga on for 2 second places, and Williams just needs to claw some points back in this championship. So does Millington, though, to be fair, because he needs to get ahead of Varga once again. He's not had the best opening couple of weeks. Internet connections last week, obviously drop scores take effect tonight, but already we're seeing Benny Varga coming under increasing amounts of pressure. 2 tenths to Williams, 6 tenths to Millington. We've got a three-way race. I'm going to drop down to Hunt, though, because Hunt's got himself ahead of Taylor. Taylor coming back at Hunt, where the McLaren can stretch its legs over the Porsche. Taylor down to 11th place over Hunt then. So Hunt stays in 10th. And Taylor just trying to tuck underneath. He's going for the outside line in the penultimate corner. Hunt comes back across.
And all stays nice and clean now into the final corner. Can Taylor get a run? Has a look up the inside. Thinks better of it. Wolski behind them, who is a lap down. So doesn't really want to get himself involved in this fight. And Hunt now could try and pull away from Taylor a little bit here. Taylor has a look into turn one, and it's only a look. He outbreaks himself actually into the first corner there. Back to Varga, Williams and Millington. This fight is brilliant right now at the moment. This could go any way between these three.
Yeah, especially if they do catch lap traffic that isn't cooperative, but I don't see much lap traffic ahead of them. I don't think it'll play too much of... So, yeah, exactly. So I don't think it'll play too much, but I mean, any mistake. It looks like Sam's really struggling in the first sector, in the slow section of the track. He loses a lot, and then he gains it back on the rest of the track.
And the problem is, that's where he's got to take advantage, Langley, isn't it? Because if Volga is on all tyres compared to Sam, Sam's got to take advantage and get that run onto the first back straight. But if that's where Sam's struggling, is Volga wide again. Got to be careful out there for track limits. Very easy to ping one up on this circuit. Hunter's now pulled a second between himself and Taylor. No real other fights happening out there on tracks, which just this for P2, 3 and 4. We're into the final 10 minutes. Jimenez has checked out up front. And we've got a race on our hands for the podium.
Yeah, exactly. This is where Sam needs to take advantage, as you said. This is where the cars are going the slowest. The aerodynamics play the least, but he just cannot get a good run out of this corner. I mean, it might have been a little better this time, but he's pushing track limits now. Are these guys going to push themselves over the track limit marker? I mean, it could be catastrophic if that happens, but I can see it happening. I know they're all giving 110% right now.
They're really chucking everything at this, aren't they? And this is where, if you're Steve, or you're kind of sat watching, you've got to take the less track limits, because if you can get ahead of these two, deep. This is where you could take advantage. Volga's deep, Millington, decent exit, but Steve actually lost a bit of time over the curb there. So Williams now really in the bump draft of Benny Varga. Not quite in the bump draft, but in the draft of Benny Varga. Runs a little wide at the kink, really closes under braking here. Look as we go on board, and Williams just getting closer into this final section. He's got to get sector one bang on to absolutely nail it going into that first straight, because that, I think, is going to be his best chance.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just so close right now. Any mistake can leave the door open for Millington as well. Any side-by-side action can leave the door open.
Seeing a bit of damage there on the rear wing of Benny Varga as we look back from his rear wing, and now Sam gets a little closer through turn one, in towards turn two. There you go. Now into turn three. It's the next bit where Sam seems to lose the most amount of time. Benny Varga not defending. Sam gets a good run. Right, be as close as you can on the exit of here, Sam, because this is where you're going to get your best opportunity. Benny runs a little wide. Sam can't take advantage. Now through this left-hander. And look, that's where it's all gone. After the double right into the left, Sam loses all that momentum, and he's lost all that chance of passing Benny into the hairpin.
I'll tell you someone who we're both ignoring right now. He was 5.7, almost 6 seconds off this fight. Gerbino's only 3.5 off this fight now. I mean, really he is not out running for a podium here at all.
No, not at all. He's coming to play, and the more this fight starts to happen, and the later we go, you feel this fight may just start to develop even more, the more this is going to play into Gerbino's hands. Just dropping down to Drone Land, because Waste within a second of him. Taylor back within a second of Hunt. We've got Brian Craig, who's got old Sim within a second of him. And then Lee, that is a definite retirement for Jason Lee. But the main fight at the moment, the closest fight, is this. Again, look how close Sam is going into the final sector of this lap.
Yeah, Benny Varga's tires just not cooperating with him in the high-speed corners at all, but he's finding that mechanical grip out of the slow corners in the first sector. And Sam, I don't think he's running wide enough out of it would be turn 4, the hairpin of turn 4. I don't think he's using all the track. We'll see it right here as they both go through again.
Yeah, I think you're right, because Sam is just losing something through the double right-hander over Benny Varga in this race, and Benny Varga doing exactly what he needs to do. Right, Sam looks close now. They've still got Steve. Gerbino down to 3.1. We'll see what it is after this next sector. They come through now.
It was a bit better that time.
not too bad, but he still just feels like he's lost a little bit of time. He doesn't look as close to
It was a
Benny as he
lot better
was.
that time. It was a lot better this time. And he's gonna take a look to the outside. Is Benny gonna stay on the inside defending? Sam sends it round the outside. It's gonna open the door for Millington possibly. And yes, it is up the inside now as they are both side by side going into the hairpin of turn 7.
And Millington, Varga ran a little wide, had a bit of a twitch. That's put Benny under pressure, less under pressure, because Steve managed to attack the outside of that of Williams, and they all somehow stay as they were. And Gabino's within 2.9, if not closer. Taylor within a 10th of Hunt, so we'll keep our eyes on that. And there is a huge fight between Old Sim and Brian Craig, just ahead of the 3 battling for second place. All starting to get a bit more intense now as we enter the latter stages of this race. That was Williams' best opportunity, and somehow he didn't get Benny Varga, but also didn't get overtaken by Steve Millington.
Well, I said I don't think traffic's going to play a part. Throw that out the window. Look at all these cars right ahead of them. Traffic is going to play a massive part, I think, especially with cars fighting each other down the back.
That's DJ Phil slow on the inside to let the lap traffic go. Will the leaders get through? Indeed they will. But now, Old Sim battling with that of Brian Craig, coming very, very close between each other. Gabino has got his gap down to 2 seconds. He's on an absolute charge to get on the back of this pack. As Steve's having a look at Sam, who made a mistake, and Sam shuts the door on Steve Millington there. But this is where Sam is weakest. Is this now, with these two fighting, just going to help Benny Varga out even more? Because he stretched his legs open a little bit on this lap. What is it? It's 8/10 now, and he's closer to Old Sim than what Williams is to him. Gabino within 1.8 seconds, so he fancies a real late charge at this podium.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not getting out of the way immediately because they're fighting for their own positions. Old Sim getting out the way, but that's now going to hold Sam up just a little bit. Old Sim's going to have to get out the way, and Craig's going to have to get out the way. Traffic definitely playing a factor now.
Yeah, Brian Craig yet to get out the way as Old Sim moves to the inside line. Benny Varga giving him a flash of the lights. That's another drive-through for Johnson. So the Nissan's night has gone from bad to worse. Benny Varga still not got past Brian Craig. Millington went around the outside of that of Old Sim. So for that of Williams and of Millington, they've got Old Sim done. Did they get Brian Craig done? Well, Williams has. Millington has now on the inside. That's put Craig under incredible amounts of pressure from Old Sim, who's now trying to put a lap on them. And then they've got Gabino, who sends one up the inside of Brian Craig of Old Sim. And he's going to look to send one up the inside of Brian Craig. He fancies another go at this. Stop-go penalty now for Johnson. He's going to have to come round and do that stop-go at the end of this lap. But at the minute, Williams has dropped off the back of Benny Varga. Traffic has definitely helped Benny out. 2 minutes 40 remaining. Jimenez in a world of his own. Fight on for second, third, fourth, and soon to be fifth in this race, you feel?
Yeah, the way Garbino sent that down the inside, he was like, knock, knock, I want a part of this fight. Get out of my way. He just wanted to get through that lap traffic so quick. And Millington, has he dropped off the back? Yes, a lot of... wait, what's happened to Millington?
He's dropped to fourth. He's had a moment somewhere, because he's now behind that of Gabino by 9 seconds. So Millington's podium has gone. The chances of a podium has gone in this race for Steve Millington. It's now a clear fight between Williams, 2.4 to Gabino, 9/10 Williams to Varga. And Varga's coming up to even more traffic at the moment.
Oh, this is incredible. I'm going to look on the replay very quick. I know we're coming to the end of this race, but I'm going to look at the replay. What's happened to Millington on that lap?
Definitely had to have a mistake on his own. I can't see what else would have happened in this one. They're gaining onto the back of the Porsche of Greaves, who's trying to fight the back of the other Porsche of Stothard then. So again, Benny Varga and Williams catching two cars who are having a fight out there on the circuit.
Oh yeah, Millington's lost it at turn 2, and he actually hit the wall of where the pit exit is. So massive mistake from Steve Millington.
So he's got to get back on it now to get positions back and to get on the back of that of Williams once again. But you just feel that it's too little too late for Steve in this one. You feel like the job has been done. But what a race this has turned out to be here at the end. Williams now back within 7/10 of Benny Varga, and Benny still not got clear of that of Greaves, who now stays out the way at turn number 4 of both of Williams and Varga. But that's just held Varga a little bit. Gap was 7/10, it's now 6, and Varga and Williams have still got to clear that of Stothard.
Yeah, this is the time where if you have the extra track limit warnings, you do want to use them. You want to take advantage of that any way you can, just to see if you can get that extra position. But this would already be a great recovery from Williams after his first 2 rounds. Has been struggling in race 2s. Whether he can... Oh, Argent with a drive-through right on the last lap of the race.
What
Oh,
a shame.
no.
And the problem is, oh no, it might not be the last lap of the race because Jimenez is at the final corner, so Argent may be able to do the drive-through penalty. Jimenez comes round now. We'll jump towards him a second. Will he cross the line to start one more? Yes, he will.
Yes, he will.
So Argent will be able to do that drive-through penalty. No, he won't. He should have done it there and then because he's behind the race leader. So that'll be a 30-second time penalty. Big yellow flags. What has happened? That's Drone Lander and Gary Leach both off at the hairpin. So Drone Lander and Leach are off. Where's Nuke Waste? He's past the pair of them.
Unbelievable. And if you didn't see, Taylor has a drive-through now as well.
You can't make this up at the moment. The bonus for Taylor is he is ahead of Jimenez, so he can do the drive-through penalty. He's ahead of Jimenez. So who's behind Taylor who'd lose out a place? He'd only lose 1 place somehow to Unsworth if he was to do the drive-through penalty. Williams still on the back of Varga. Lino is now on the back of Millington. Don't know what happened between Leach and Dronelander, but they both lose out to Waste in this one. We've also got a fight between Greaves and Stothard. Old Sim and Brian Craig. We've got Peckman and Broom having a little scrap, but your race leader comes onto the back straight now. It is all happening here at Misano in the dying seconds.
Unbelievable. And Millington has damage. Lino's going to be all over the back of him on this final lap to take a top 5 after his win last weekend.
This is incredible. What scenes we're seeing here at Misano. What a race. What a season this is turning out to be. But if you're Jimenez, you're on for a debut win. And what a drive it has been from this man. Jimenez comes to the final corner. And for the first time, we said last week, we love a new race winner. Jimenez will dominate here in the feature race at Misano. Benny Varga cannot make a mistake in this final sector. He's got that of Benny Varga just behind him. Argent finishes 13th, but with a 30-second penalty, 2 seconds more than his drive-through. Benny Varga deep at the hairpin, can't afford to make another mistake. Will this cost Benny Varga through the penultimate?
He's handled the pressure.
Get this final corner
He's
bang
handled
on.
The pressure tonight.
Taylor's done his drive-through. He's only lost the 1 spot. Malarex has won in bronze. Beto second in bronze. But Benny Varga second on the road ahead of Williams. Gabino with a solid P4. Millington has just hung on over Lino on this last lap. He threw it away himself. But Steve Millington hangs on in there for a P5. What a result for Steve. At Lino 6th, Nuke Waste, a pretty unexpected 7th place. He's been on his own all evening, but Nuke Waste, 7th place. What a result for him in this one. What an absolute bonkers race we've just had. Nuke Waste, P7, ahead of Gary Leach. We'll get to the others who's finished down the order. Gary Leach.
I want to point something out real quick. Look at Betterson. He was only 3 tenths away from winning the bronze class after everything he's had tonight.
What a charge.
But either way, Malarex takes both P1 spots tonight in the bronze class. Absolutely amazing night for him in that Aston.
Yeah, really was a good night. Darren Bell, after all his troubles, fights back for a 25th. Wolski was in the wars a bit, 23rd for him. We know Benny Varga got 2nd. Sam Williams, P3. Andrew Taylor, 12th, who we're just waiting for
Andrew
him to
Taylor
finish.
got a bit lucky there.
Very lucky.
Because a lot of cars were lapped. He actually was able to stay on the lead lap and take his drive-through, so he only lost 2 spots, or one or two spots, I believe.
He lost 1 spot to Unsworth because the car behind him was Kieran Argent. But what a race that was. We'll hopefully get a few drivers join us in the commentary box in a moment. I'm just trying to save the highlights for the socials, and then we'll get the results input.
Bestie takes 2 podiums tonight.
Yeah, another double set of podiums for Bestie in this one. Solid results for him. But we get a screenshot of the first set of the tables. We get a screenshot of the second set now that it is updated with everybody on there at the moment. Where was Broom? He was 21st. For Privet, it was a 28th result. Steve Millington finished up the order, but P5 after what could have been for him. Gary Leach 8th. We didn't see what happened between him and Droneland. And Malarex 13th again. So a 12th and 13th. Definite bronze driver of the day for me for Malarex. Paul Williams was down the order after a couple of penalties for him. He's 24th. Michael Johnson, a few for him. He's 27th. We've then got that of Peckman, who finished in 20th. Jimenez won the race with fastest lap, as we know. I'm just going to have to go to my screenshots now that the server has reset. Phil Atherton was 26th. We've then got Gabino, who finished up in a solid P4 ahead of Steve. Nuke Waste, a P7. He'll take that in a quiet race for him. Old Sim was 19th. Unsworth was up in 11th. Not a bad race for Unsworth, but loses out to his championship rival of Benny Varga. Argent drops from 13th to 17th due to that 30-second time penalty. Ian Best was 22nd. Brian Craig 18th in this one. Lino was P6. Good result for him. Dronelander P9. Just looking at it. So I've got to input Lee with a retirement. Stothard 15th place for him. So while that is all done, we can catch our breath for a moment. We've got a few drivers in for a chat. And I tell you what, Langley, start with the P3 man.
Well, Sam, finally, it feels like you finally put together a very good race 2, very consistent, so close to P2 in the end. But we've seen it this season where you do very well generally in the sprint, and then you struggle a little bit in race 2. So can you tell us, what was the difference tonight? Did you feel more confident in the car? Did you make some changes throughout the week? I mean, you look very consistent out there tonight. Well done, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to actually get a result in the feature. And the difference has mainly been not being plagued by technical difficulties. So yeah, just managed to keep it consistent. The adrenaline's pumping, but managed to keep it together and actually bring the result home. So very pleased.
I'm not surprised the adrenaline's pumping. I think Matt and I still have some adrenaline pumping after that one. We had you had a fight with Benny and Sam for P2, 3, and 4 in this, and you had cars in front of you battling their own battles. I mean, how did you keep composed? That was such a heart-pumping moment in that race. I mean, I know you desperately wanted P2 probably, but you got to be happy with P3 in your first feature podium of the season.
Yeah, no, ecstatic. It was very busy. I did want P2. I probably could have, but it probably would have been forced, and I didn't want to do that. Also, knowing Steve was right behind me, ready to pick up any pieces, I just had to keep it clean. And once I decided to not push for Benny anymore, just kept it behind him. Just trying to get to the end, really, avoiding traffic, which we sort of got through all right, to be fair, considering how much traffic there was. So we did really well. Benny did a great job, as always, driving really clean and consistent. So well done to him. Yeah, great race. Finally a result.
Yeah, fair enough. Good consistency from you tonight. You've had great pace all season, so it's great to see it finally put together. We got Imola coming up next week. It's an evening race, so how are we feeling about that one?
Yeah, I like Imola. Hopefully I'll have more time to do some more practice this week than I've had to do on this track. But I'm a fan of Imola, and we'll take it as it comes. Do my best, hopefully, just try and keep it clean and consistent again. I think my pace isn't too bad. Just need to work on the consistency, like you said. But it's getting there, and I'm confident. So.
Yeah, looking very good this season, Sam. Good step up from last season in terms of pace. Keep on it, man. You got that. And we'll move on now to our P2 man in both races, actually, of Benny Varga. Benny, again, another weekend, no race wins, but who cares when you're picking up the points like this? I mean, that's 2 P2s. You start near the back of the silver class for the sprint. You pit first lap, you just put the foot down, and you get P2 in that, and then the good consistency tonight. Talk us a little through the sprint first, and then we'll get on to the feature.
Yeah, exactly. So, at this point, all that matters is to score as many points as possible. So I'm not trying to risk, or like I said, should I say, take any unnecessary risks. So I'm quite happy with the results I had today. Sprint was I already decided to pit on the first lap like I always do. I had some nice clean air. I did quali laps and it paid me off well. Could have been a race win, but we had to fight with Gary for that P2, which was awesome, but took a lot of time away from me for catching Millington, so I ended up P2, but it's quite nice. So yeah, scoring maximum points for me at least. Yeah.
Yeah, your consistency has been killer this season. Now, talk us through that sprint or the feature race a little bit. Did you take tires at your pit stop? We noticed a shrinking gap after the pit stops.
Yeah, so what happened was, I tried to risk it all, so like dump it and not take tires, so I didn't take tires, so I was suffering till the end. But actually, this strategy would have worked just fine, but I got taken out by a lap driver.
We did see that. So Matt's suspicion was right of you not taking tires. So we did see that contact with a lap car. He was trying to let you through, but he was too late on the brakes into the hairpin.
Yeah,
so that was
kind
unfortunate. But I mean, it kind of gave the spectators and us commentators some great reasons
yeah,
for P2.
that's for sure, and a really sweaty end to the race, yeah.
Yeah, and how did you keep composed? I mean, you're on old tires, you have rear damage now, and you have lap cars in front of you that are fighting over their own position. So how did you keep composed to keep that P2?
Well, to be honest, I was just driving. I was full logged in and driving. That's it.
Fair enough. I mean, great result tonight, man. Another pair of podiums for yourself, and I believe you increase your championship lead again. So it's been your consistency has been killer this season, man. If you keep at it, you could be looking at a championship. So great job tonight. Now Imola next week. How are we feeling about that?
Well, Imola is a track that I really always liked, and it's not different this time. So I'm just gonna have the same attitude like I had for this week. So I will just gonna try score as many points as I can while taking care of unnecessary risks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Great job tonight. We will see you next week for Imola. I quite like Imola as well, but
yeah, that's for sure.
We're gonna move on to the man of the hour. Absolute domination tonight. Jimenez, 32 seconds ahead of P2, and I know Benny got caught up in a little incident, but still, you were absolutely on it tonight. 2 fastest lap in race 1. I know you're probably a little disappointed with the drive-through you got, but you showed pace right out the blocks in practice. Took pole by you were in the 33s. That's near pro pace, man. I absolutely rapid tonight, and then absolutely dominating the feature race. I mean, talk about the feature race, because I mean, at one point you're probably just cruising out there. But yeah, how was it?
It was pretty good. I was trying not to give myself any Code Brown moments and give myself yet another drive-through. But Misano is one of those tracks that I've raced on both bikes and cars, so if I like it on one, then I obviously like it on the other. I have no idea where the 33 came from. I was nowhere near that in practice. Even doing offline stuff, I was nowhere near. That's my new personal best, because before that it was a 34.5, which I put in before LFM-BOP came into play. And I've never hit a 33. I've only seen people hit 33s, but I just kind of got my head down, took a breather, and just went for it.
Yeah, man. And what do you think you could have done in the sprint had you not got that drive-through? I mean, you even took fastest lap in that.
Well, of course, just not gotten the drive-through, and I maybe manage the traffic, because I was a little sloppy getting around traffic in the sprint race as compared to the feature. But I mean, those are just things that I could work on, especially when it comes to single class, because I've only experienced traffic in multi-class in like Forza, whatever. But definitely my first time trying to actually navigate.
Well, I will say, as a fellow American, it is great to see an American in a Ford take the P1 spot tonight. Absolutely brilliant racing. Are you joining us next weekend, or was this just a one-off?
My next race is down under in Bathurst, 3 weeks out, beautiful. I think. Which right. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, let's skip to that. How do you like Bathurst? I don't think it's a night race. It might be a morning race, but how do you like Bathurst?
Um, I really enjoy it. As for my pace there, that's pretty gopping, just like the sprint race. I think I'm running like 205 consistent, but I know my qualifying pace is actually pretty decent there. But as long as I put in the hours and just take my time, I think we could definitely come out with a good result there.
Well, absolutely brilliant driving tonight, man. Absolutely dominated the feature race. Took pole and an unexpected 39 that you said, or 33 that you said. Yeah, great job tonight, man. We're looking forward to having you back in a few weeks' time at Bathurst. So congrats to Sam on his first feature podium, and congrats to Benny on another pair of podiums tonight. And Matt, I'll send it back over to you.
Yeah, one thing you forgot to ask Sam was, and I think race 2 has to go down, he says it's down to technical issues. He's avoided his teammate. That's the first thing that Sam's done tonight. So he's managed to not hit his teammate. But let me tell you, with the drop scores, Langley, the tables have took a turn. Benny Varga leads by 60 points from Millington, now in second place, with Leno third, Unsworth fourth. Williams is now fifth from Gabino, Wolski. Leach is up to eighth from Dronelander. Taylor, Argent, Sam Greaves, Michael Johnson, Brian Craig, Peckman, Williams, Hunt, Broom, Jimenez, Lane, Old Sim, De Block, Waste, Lee, Stothard, Flores, Davis, Cummings, Wainwright. Bronze is...
That's an unbelievable turn.
Yeah.
Because,
Is,
I mean, Millington finished started P4 in the sprint tonight. Sorry to interrupt there.
No,
and now he'll be back second to last in the silver class.
And then bronze is even closer. 39 points between Malarex and Bettison. Bestie only 64 points. Tucker 72 behind. Darren Bell 75 behind Bettison, who leads it. Sturrock from Privet, Atherton, Smith, Simcoe, Cherrymore, John Andrews. The big one, though, is the constructors. Team Audio Sport be dominant. The first round of drop scores, SimPlay Racing have a 34-point lead over Team Audio Sport in the constructors standings. From Real Time Racing, 4Q Motorsport, Quantum Motorsport are fifth from Sodor Racing, Team Merlot, Greasy Bandits Racing, Black and Blue Racing, Team Aspire, Bearded Racing, SC Racing, the Balkan Sim Hub, Team GBR, SRC Motorsport, Billy No Mates and Roadrunner Motors. So the teams have took the biggest impact there in the fact that SimPlay now lead by 34 points. In the overall, Benny Varga 60 clear of Millington with Leno, Unsworth, Williams, Gabino, Wolski, Leach, Dronelander, Taylor, Bettison 11th overall. Great to see that. Argent's 12th from Greaves, Johnson, Craig, Malarex up to 16th as the bronze driver. Then it's Peckman, Paul Williams, Hunt and Broom. Bestie, Tucker, Darren Bell 21st, 22nd, 23rd from bronze overall. So they're doing pretty decent. Then it's Jimenez, Lane, Old Sim, De Block, Waste, Lee, Privet, Atherton, who are bronze, Stothard, Smith, Simcoe, Flores, Cherrymore, Andrews, Cummings, Davis, Sturrock and Archer. So the tables have took a massive turn on the head in these ones. This has been such a night, really, hasn't it? The Constructors' Championships has really toppled on its head.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if we get the same chaos that we had tonight for the rest of the season, I know Imola is a bit of a tighter track, but the GT3 cars work a lot better than, like, say, a high downforce car around that track.
Yeah.
It's going to be just some more chaos, some more great racing. I mean, I'm so excited to commentate some more next week. And I believe it's an evening race, so a nice, beautiful sunset over the Imola sky.
Indeed it will be. Driver of the day in the chat has gone the way of Steve Millington, Benny Varga and Jimenez. They've taken a tied driver of the day. Langley, your driver of the day, bronze and silver?
Bronze, I think, is obvious. It's Malarex. I mean, taking P1 twice, a great P1 in the first race, P12, and took a big chunk of points out of Bettison and Bestie. So driver of the day easily goes to him in the bronze class. Silver class, Benny, it's no knock on you, but you take these podiums so often, we almost expect it of you. I mean, it's so hard to say it's not Benny, because he took 2 P2s, but Jimenez won the race by 30 seconds. I would have given it to Millington if he had gotten a dual podium as well. That would have been his first of the season. I'll give it to Jimenez and Varga. I'll give it to both of them.
I'm going to go for Steve, because I think Steve had the better... Because we can't keep giving it Varga each week, like you say. Jimenez race
Fair
one
enough.
Kind of is what I've not gone for Jimenez. Otherwise, I think I'd have gone for him. So Steve for the fifth and the win is why I've given it him. If it was a third and a fifth, maybe not. But yeah, the win and fifth, I'm going to give it the way of Steve Millington. But great, what a night of racing. You're on track tomorrow night, me and Kelly in the box. Make sure you join us for that one at 8 p.m. UK time, so GMT, now that the clocks have gone back. For the Americans, it'll be back to normal hours in between the time difference next week. But obviously for this week, it's not the same. But what a tasty race tonight. One more time at the Misano circuit tomorrow night for the Pro Series, where Langley will be out on track. Me and Kelly will be in the commentary box for that one. Me and Langley, though, will be back for next week. The evening race at Imola in the Pro-Am. Can Benny Varga keep on top? Can anybody start to hunt him down? Bettison under pressure now from Malarex. And Dan will be back, obviously, for the Who Darren Cup on Tuesday evening. But what a night's worth of racing. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't, please hit that thumbs up button, the bell to be notified, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, as well as go into the description and check out our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and that of Audio Sport. But for the final time tonight, it's been a pleasure